Chapter 885. The aura of destruction surged in all directions. The entire Divine Ruins world began to shake at this moment. Enormous cracks spread out millions of li in the void. That was the entire Divine Ruins world, unable to withstand the terrifying power of the god Evil Will, starting to gradually disintegrate. This god Evil will seem to have walked out from ancient mythological history. That terrifying pressure was simply about to make one collapse. A great emperor's divine obsession was enough to cause a boundless calamity, a blood river for millions of li, let alone the god Evil Will that was transformed from a myth emperor. That power could simply annihilate the heavens. Perhaps even if a true great emperor took action, they might not necessarily be able to block it. In the starry sky, everyone felt their hair stand on end. Even the creatures on the other side also felt a wave of horror. Emperor Shun Hui's evil thoughts were too terrifying, causing them to feel a chill down their spines. As for Immortal Domain's side, the cultivators' faces were even more ashen. This kind of pressure simply made one feel even more despair than facing a great emperor. It's over. Everything is over. Meng Zhan's pupils were lax, as if they lost focus. They came to the Divine Ruins world precisely to prevent the seven sins god Evil Will from breaking the seal and merging. In the end, they still couldn't stop it. The entire Divine Ruins world would be destroyed under this god Evil Will. This border gap would be difficult to block again. This way, the foreign great army would be able to directly invade. At this moment, all of the Immortal Domain cultivators' faces were deathly pale, their bodies like black wood, their hearts like dead ashes. Their hearts felt as if they were fiercely hammered, and then began to beat in despair. That was the despair of facing death. This god Evil Will was simply like a great emperor reviving, a devil god descending into the world, wishing to destroy this world. Even Gu Tizi's expression changed greatly, discovering that he seemed to have gone too far. The situation was completely out of control. There would be a tremendous impact. Once the Divine Ruins world was destroyed, the foreign army would immediately march straight in. At that time, it would be a true great war between two worlds, a calamity of the heavens. This kind of influence was too far-reaching, simply able to change the situation of this era. The true chaotic great world might arrive ahead of time. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's brows were tightly locked. Compared to this god Evil Will, the seven emperors were nothing at all. What was certain? Right now, no one could stop the evil thoughts of this god. Even if a true great emperor appeared on the spot, he might not be able to suppress the evil thoughts of this god. Above the starry sky, the figure of the evil spirit of the god was extremely blurry, and the great paths around it collapsed. All sorts of deities and Buddhas were wailing. The heavens were collapsing, and the horrifying scene of all living beings being bathed in blood was revealed. The evil thoughts of gods were the undying obsessions of experts above the great emperor level. He was holy in life and evil in death. It was because the Qing emperor cared for the common people and was selfless. Only then would the evil thoughts of the gods become more and more terrifying, possessing boundless evil thoughts and demonic nature. Rumble. The evil spirit of the god stretched out a large hand and grabbed at the world tree. The world tree was incomparably huge, with chaotic energy flowing around it. The crown of the tree began to tremble. All kinds of chaos laws surged out, and the power of the world surged. Obviously, the world tree also had some kind of instinct and did not want the evil thoughts of the gods to get it. Oomph! The evil thought let out a cold snort. Suddenly, it was as if the ground had been struck by lightning, and the heavens were about to explode. Every living being at the scene was knocked backward. The blood in their chests churned as they spat out mouthfuls of blood. His eyes were filled with extreme shock. With a casual snort, all living beings were injured. How terrifying was this? The evil god's giant hand grabbed at the world tree and pulled it up. The chaos laws shook, and heaven and earth collapsed. This world seemed to be returning to the chaos and nothingness. From this, it could be seen what kind of supreme power the world tree possessed. However, the world tree was now an ownerless object after all. It was still impossible for it to resist the evil thought of the gods. Huge cracks began to appear in the universe. One could even vaguely see the scene of the celestial realm on the other side of the border. At this moment, at the border outside the world of the ruins of God, Fourth Master Scar and the other elders of the border station were standing in the void. Their faces were ugly to the extreme. In the end, is there still no way? The Fourth Master Scar sighed deeply, his brows tightly knitted. The giant green lotus, which was also the world of the ruins of God, was already covered in cracks. From the cracks, one could clearly see that the incomparably terrifying evil thought of the gods was about to break through the world of the ruins of God. At that time, forget about the invasion of the foreign army. Just the evil thought of this god alone could cause a boundless catastrophe. "It's all over," an elder at the border said with a blank face. "We need to inform the immortal factions of the Nine Heavens immortal realm that a great war is about to break out. We also need to restrain the evil thought of this god. Otherwise, the people will be in great danger." Many of the remaining elders had anxious looks on their faces. "Sai, it's not that easy. We need more than one martial monarch to restrain the evil thought of this god. Due to the ancient covenant of alliance, there are only a few martial monarchs in the celestial realm. How are we going to find a few martial monarchs in such a short time?" The Fourth Master Scar shook his head. Meanwhile, deep in the starry sky, a few blurry figures with the power of the world and the aura of the great Tao appeared. They were the half-monarch realm experts who were stationed at the border all year round. "The situation isn't looking good," a half-monarch murmured. "If the evil thought of the god breaks through the seal, we won't be able to suppress it even if we work together. Is there going to be a miracle?" While the experts at the border were extremely worried, inside the world of the ruins of God, the world was shaking. The heavens began to crumble and fall like tiles and bricks. Obviously, the evil thought of the god wanted to break through the world of the ruins of God and head to the outside world. On the other side, many creatures had excitement in their eyes. Their goal had been achieved. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao frowned. Suddenly, in his inner universe, the ancient lotus seed that was immersed in the spring of life seemed to have sensed the danger of the evil thought of the god. More and more cracks appeared on the surface. In the end, it directly split open and countless chaotic laws spread out. This, Jun Xiaoyao sensed it with his divine sense, and he was also surprised. Previously, Jun Xiaoyao had fought with the 10 princes of Jinwu, but even the 10 princes of Jinwu, who had transformed into the postnatal chaotic body, the chaotic power that he controlled was far inferior to the chaotic power that was seeping out now. This chaotic power was incomparably pure, as if it was seeping out from the primordial chaos. As the ancient lotus seed split open, a green lotus blossomed. This green lotus had a total of 36 lotus leaves, and it was surrounded by chaotic energy. There was even a complete law of chaos that appeared. Jun Xiaoyao was really surprised and in disbelief. If Jun Xiaoyao guessed correctly, this should be the 36th grade Chaos Green Lotus. In comparison, the 7 god obsessions from before could only be considered 12th grade. They were on a completely different level. Green light surged, and chaotic energy surged. Above the 36th grade Chaos Green Lotus, a green-robed phantom slowly appeared. Transcendent, supreme, it was as if he had walked out of a myth. It was Emperor Qing. Chapter 886. In Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, chaotic energy surged and light surged. Above the 36th grade chaotic green lotus, a blurry figure was shrouded in dazzling divine splendor. He was dressed in green, simple and unadorned, but with a supreme aura. His hair fluttered gently, as if he was an immortal, although his face was blurry and shrouded in divine splendor. But a corner of his face could be vaguely seen, and it was stunning. That kind of flawless beauty had already transcended the identity of a man and a woman. It was as if that was synonymous with perfection itself. The Lotus Thearka's original form was a green lotus in the chaos, and there was no gender distinction. At this moment, in the inner universe, Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit condensed and appeared, standing in front of the Lotus Thearka's phantom. He stared at the peerless figure in front of him. Was it really the Lotus Thearch? Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. If it were anyone else, if they saw the Lotus Thearch, even if it was just a wisp of his soul or a phantom, they would be extremely excited and unable to control themselves. After all, this was the supreme mythical emperor recorded in ancient history. It was a mythical existence. But Jun Xiaoyao's expression was very calm, and his white robe was peerless. Facing the Lotus Thearka's phantom, he didn't lose in terms of transcendence at all. It was as if the most stunning figures of ancient and modern times had met face to face across time and space. This world has its own rules. The Lotus Thearka's phantom finally spoke. His voice was clear, and one couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman. It was different from the expected pressure of a mythical emperor. At this moment, the Lotus Thearka's phantom was very calm and didn't give off any pressure. It even gave people a feeling of being bathed in the spring breeze. Jun Xiaoyao even felt that just standing beside the Lotus Thearch was like being enlightened, and he could directly touch the great Tao of chaos of heaven and earth. It could be said that even if it was just a mortal body, as long as one stayed by the Lotus Thearka's side for a long time, they would be baptized by the great Tao of heaven and earth and transform into a peerless genius with a limitless future. I am Jun Xiaoyao from the Jun family. Greetings, senior. Jun Xiaoyao cupped his hands slightly, and his tone was neither servile nor overbearing. It was very calm. Descendant of the Jun family? Back then, I had a discussion with the primeval ancient emperor of the Jun family. I wonder if he is still around. Primeval ancient emperor? Jun Xiaoyao was stunned. Primeval ancient emperor, Jun Xiaoyao. To be honest, Jun Xiaoyao had never heard of this name. However, to be able to discuss the Tao with the Azure Thearch, his cultivation level should not be too low. It seems that our family's waters are also very deep. Jun Xiaoyao was somewhat speechless. Even the dignified son of God of the Jun family couldn't figure out how deep the Jun family's waters were. He had no idea how many experts the Jun family was hiding. This world was created by you. That's right, Jun Xiaoyao replied. All of a sudden, he felt a gaze that seemed to be able to see through the ages fall on him. In front of this light, all secrets were no longer secrets. Strange, you seem to be a void, an anomaly that has jumped out of the world. No wonder you were able to create this world. There was a hint of surprise in the Azure Emperor's voice. It could be seen that Jun Xiaoyao had also surprised the Azure Emperor. Jun Xiaoyao was quite calm about it. He knew he was a traveler, so he would not be affected by the karma of this world, nor would he fall into the 6 paths of reincarnation. Perhaps you do have a glimmer of hope, the Azure Emperor said, as if he had thought of something. Senior, the evil intent of the gods is about to break the seal, and the ruins of God will be destroyed. It will be a calamity for the 9 heavens, immortal realm. Jun Xiaoyao brought his fist together at the Azure Emperor and said in a serious tone. They did not have much time to chat. Do you know why I was born with the evil intent of the gods? The Azure Emperor asked. I don't know, Jun Xiaoyao replied after a slight hesitation. It was true that not all martial monarchs would be born with the evil intent of the gods after they died. Only martial monarchs with extreme obsessions would be born with the evil intent. However, what kind of obsessions did the Azure Emperor have? I have an obsession that I won't rest until I die, the Azure Emperor said. May I ask what your obsession is? Jun Xiaoyao asked. It would reveal the secret of why the Azure Emperor was born with the evil intent of the gods. I want to build a world of immortals, and the ruins of God is my experiment, the Azure Emperor said. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes widened upon hearing the words. Building a world of immortals. How bold was that? I want a world of immortals where everyone can become an immortal and live forever in peace, the Azure Emperor said. Jun Xiaoyao was quite surprised. The Azure Emperor was being too ambitious. Even Jun Xiaoyao did not think too much about it. He only wanted to achieve immortality. At most, he wanted to lead the entire June clan to become an immortal. As for the entire Nine Heavens immortal realm, everyone could become an immortal. Jun Xiaoyao did not have the kind of compassion and magnanimity. However, I failed, and the ruins of God was the result of my failure. Therefore, I was unwilling to give up. My obsession was not extinguished, and it formed the evil intent of the gods. However, I knew it would become a threat in the future, so I divided it into 7 parts and suppressed them separately, but I still couldn't escape today. The Azure Emperor sighed. Jun Xiaoyao was also silent. The Azure Emperor's starting point was not wrong. He was merciful and wanted everyone to be like a dragon. However, this was not something that the Azure Emperor could do alone. Even the mythical emperors, whose power was almost on par with the heavens, could not reach this level. Even a real immortal might not be able to do it. However, with this cause, the evil intent of the gods was born. In the unseen world, everything had its own destiny. Senior Azure Emperor, is there no way to stop the evil intent of the gods? Jun Xiaoyao was still unwilling to give up. He didn't want to lose this bet. The Azure Emperor's gaze fell on Jun Xiaoyao. After a while, he sighed faintly. Originally, there was no hope. However, the appearance of an anomaly like you may change everything. Senior, please tell me. As long as I can do it, I will definitely do it. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were clear. I can use a special method to seal the evil intent of the gods in your inner universe. However, if your inner universe can't withstand it, it will be destroyed directly, and you will also die. Can you bear this risk and price? The Azure Emperor looked at Jun Xiaoyao. For anyone, this was definitely a dilemma. After all, it was a matter of life and death. If the evil intent of the gods broke through the world of the ruins of God, Jun Xiaoyao might not necessarily die. However, if the evil intent of the gods was sealed in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, he would definitely die if he was not careful. Senior, please make a move. I can bear it. Jun Xiaoyao smiled slightly. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Without risks, there would be no gains. To a certain extent, Jun Xiaoyao was also a gambler. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used such a risky method from the beginning. Okay, the Azure Emperor nodded slightly. At the same time, in the outside world, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were clear as he looked at the evil intent of the gods in the starry sky. At this moment, countless cracks had already spread across the entire world of the ruins of God. All the cultivators of the immortal region were in complete despair. The hope in their eyes was extinguished. The evil intent of the gods was about to break through the seal. Who can save our immortal region? A border soldier looked up at the sky with tears in his eyes. At this moment, green light surged in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes, and a chaotic aura suddenly surged around his body. All kinds of chaotic laws surged out. Boom! In an instant, a vast pressure swept across the entire world of the ruins of God. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock as they fell on Jun Xiaoyao. Chapter 887. The law of primal chaos spread around Jun Xiaoyao's body. The turbulent primal chaos energy wrapped around him. His aura was rising steadily as well, and it was rising violently and explosively at a speed that caused everyone to feel terrified. What's going on? What's wrong with the Jun family son of God? Everyone was extremely shocked, their mouths wide open, so wide that an egg could be stuffed in. The aura Jun Xiaoyao was emitting at this moment was too terrifying. It was like a god of primal chaos had awakened. That aura crushed the heavens and made the world tremble. This is impossible. Gu Tizi was the first to shout. He completely lost his composure, and his face was about to distort. Could it be that the originally certain victory was going to be reversed? What other methods did Jun Xiaoyao have? Was he really a god? Why couldn't any method take down Jun Xiaoyao? At this moment, Gu Tizi's mentality was really a bit broken. The terrifying aura emanating from Jun Xiaoyao had completely exceeded his own level of cultivation. It was simply like the resurrection of an indestructible god in ancient history. No, it's strange. That's not his own strength. On the other side, there were quasi-supreme beings whispering in surprise. They absolutely did not believe that a young generation of the immortal domain could become so strong in such a short period of time. It was about the same as the aura emitted by the evil spirit of the god. Above the starry sky, the evil spirit of the god noticed Jun Xiaoyao. A pair of eyes that seemed to hide a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood stared coldly. Then, the evil spirit of the god reached out a large hand that covered the sky. Suddenly, the entire starry sky seemed to have fallen into endless darkness, and all kinds of dark chaos laws surged. It was as if this world was going to be pulled into the end of eternal darkness. Xiaoyao, young master, Lord Grim, Junling Song, Yu Chanwan, and the others couldn't help but shout when they saw this. They wanted to, but they were powerless. In a battle of this level, even a quasi-supreme being would directly explode if they intervened. They wouldn't even have the chance to make a move. Outside the ruins of God, Fourth Master Scar and the others, who were observing the scene inside the ruins of God through the crack, were also shocked. Not good. The Son of God is in danger. Fourth Master Scar was extremely anxious. He couldn't imagine how the Jun family would react if Jun Xiaoyao were to fall. If the Jun clan gave up on the Nine Heavens immortal realm and sealed themselves off because of Jun Xiaoyao's death, the situation of the Nine Heavens immortal realm would only worsen. The Nine Heavens immortal realm could not afford to lose the Jun clan. This is bad. Even the supreme quasi-emperors in the depths of the starry sky frowned. If Jun Xiaoyao fell, the impact would be too far-reaching. It would affect the future of the great world. However, in the next moment, the expressions of these quasi-emperors guarding the border froze, also stunned. They were not the only ones who were stunned. The Fourth Master Scar and the other veterans at the border were also stunned. There was also the ruins of Godworld. Meng Zhan and the other great knights, Gutizi and the other 7 martial emperors, Lord Grim and the others. The pseudo-9 heaven supremes of the foreign realms, Pu Yao, Tushan Xiao Xiao, and the others. They were all stunned. What did they just see? A boundless chaotic glow appeared behind Jun Xiaoyao. A peerless and magnificent figure slowly appeared behind Jun Xiaoyao. A soft sigh was heard. It was as light as a feather, yet it felt like it was crushing everything. Bang! Billions of chaotic rules appeared and turned into chaotic chains, lunging at the evil spirit. Roar! The evil spirit let out a furious roar like a wild beast. An even more terrifying aura burst out, causing the heavens to crumble and the stars to fall. The chains of chaos wrapped around the evil spirit of the god, binding it tightly before pulling it toward Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. This could be said to be the biggest and most dangerous gamble he had ever taken since he started cultivating. Come on, Jun Xiaoyao, am not afraid of anything. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were cold. There is no such word as fear in his dictionary. He was indifferent to life and death. If he was not convinced, he would fight. Rumble. Under the shocked gazes of countless people, that extremely terrifying evil spirit of the god seeped right into Jun Xiaoyao's body. In an instant, the boundless and terrifying power shook Jun Xiaoyao's body, causing countless bloody wounds. Blood dripped down. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao's physical body had the potential to become a great emperor. However, because of this impact, his body began to crack and stain with blood. It could be seen how dangerous it was to seal the evil spirit of a god. It was like dancing on the tip of a knife. Of course, the world tree was also pulled into Jun Xiaoyao's body along with the evil spirit of a god. The world tree and the evil spirit of a god entered Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe together. At this moment, everyone in the starry sky was dumbfounded. The Fourth Master Scar and other elders outside the world of the ruins of God were also dumbfounded. They had never expected the situation to develop like this. That phantom is Lord Qing Di. On the side of the immortal realm, countless people's eyes fell on the transcendent phantom behind Jun Xiaoyao. Who else could that peerless supreme figure be other than the Qing Di? However, in the next moment, the phantom of the Qing Di disappeared, because the Qing Di needed to use all his strength to suppress the evil spirit of this god. If the real Emperor Qing had appeared, the evil thoughts of this god would have been easily suppressed. However, the problem was that the current Qing Di was just a phantom, a wisp of remnant soul hidden in the 36-grade chaotic green lotus. To be able to seal the evil spirit of a god was already doing his best. What the hell is going on? Lord Son of God used his own body to seal the obsession of a god. How is this possible? Could it be that there's an inner universe or small world in Son of God's body, but he is only at the sacred Lord realm? Countless people in all directions were shocked speechless. Jun Xiaoyao's performance was undoubtedly unimaginable and unbelievable. Of course, the cultivators of the immortal realm were even more moved. What kind of self-sacrificing spirit did he have? The Son of God is indeed the same as Lord Wu Hui. He is completely devoted to the immortal realm. For a man like Meng Zhan, even his eyes were slightly red. One could imagine how moved the people of the immortal realm were by Jun Xiaoyao's self-sacrifice. At this moment, in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, the phantom of the Qing Di was using all his strength to suppress the evil spirit of a god, trying to seal it in the deepest part of Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. Of course, this was extremely harmful to Jun Xiaoyao. This was because although Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was his own great Tao, it was still in the growth stage after all. Its diameter was only 2 light years. When the evil spirit of a god entered Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, it was equivalent to putting a vicious shark into a fish tank. If he was not careful, the inner universe might be shattered by the recoil force of the evil spirit of a god. If that happened, not only would Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation be completely destroyed, but his life would also be in danger. This was also the reason why the Qing Di had warned him previously. At this moment, in the eyes of outsiders, Jun Xiaoyao was covered in blood, and all kinds of chaotic auras were surging around his body. His aura was extremely chaotic. It was as if there were 2 gods fighting inside his body. And Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were sometimes clear and sometimes releasing endless demonic thoughts. One thought was a god, and the other was a demon. If the phantom of the Qing Di could not suppress the evil spirit of a god, Jun Xiaoyao might even be tainted by the demonic thoughts and become a demon lord. Cough. Jun Xiaoyao's condition was extremely bad. Blood was dripping from his mouth, and his body was cracking. He looked extremely terrifying. All of his attention was focused on stabilizing the innerverse. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was undoubtedly in his worst state. This is a good chance. At this moment, a figure dashed toward Jun Xiaoyao, whose body was on the verge of collapse, like a bolt of lightning. It was Gu Tizi. Gu Tizi, how dare you? At this moment, even Meng Zhan was enraged. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he shouted at Gu Tizi. Jun Xiaoyao had sacrificed himself, using his own flesh and blood to suppress the evil spirit of a god. And Gu Tizi had actually chosen to attack at this moment. This was truly infuriating. Gu Tizi, you're courting death. Jun Ling Tsong, Lord Grim, and the other's eyes were also filled with coldness. Unfortunately, this scene was too sudden. No one had expected Gu Tizi to suddenly attack, and they could not save him in time. Even Long Yao had a look of disdain in her eyes. As for Ling Yin, her heart trembled. Xian Yu's heart skipped a beat. She could not help but take a step forward, wanting to stop him. It was as if she could see her brother about to die. The winner takes all. As long as I can kill you and obtain the heavenly crown, I don't care about the flood. Gu Tizi let out an arrogant laugh. There was even a trace of madness in it. He raised his hand and slapped Jun Xiaoyao's chest. Chapter 888. Gu Tizi was so excited that every nerve of his body was trembling. It was as if he could already see Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit shattering under his attack. The heavenly Tao crown would be placed on his body. The old legend would come to an end. a new legend would rise. It's over. Gu Tizi blasted his palm toward Jun Xiaoyao. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao, who was using the universe within his physical body to suppress the evil thoughts of the gods, was undoubtedly at his weakest state. He had no power to resist at all. He had no extra energy to resist Gu Tizi's attack. Time seemed to have been slowed down countless times. In the starry sky, everyone's expression was different. Anger, shock, resentment, and unwillingness. There was also joy, relief, and pleasure. It could be said that different camps and different standpoints had completely different attitudes and expressions at this moment. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Gu Tizi, whose face was contorted with pleasure at this moment, with a hint of sarcasm in his eyes. He had said that from the beginning to the end, Gu Tizi and the others were just chess pieces in his hands. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Behind Gu Tizi, the void suddenly split open, and a figure was so fast that it was like a shadow. Just the aura alone sent Gu Tizi flying. Then, it replaced Gu Tizi and blasted Jun Xiaoyao with a palm. Boom! Jun Xiaoyao's figure retreated rapidly, but his eyes were fixed on that figure. Dead silence. Stunned. Shocked. Everyone's expression froze at this moment. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. Gu Tizi couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His expression was filled with shock and anger as he stared at the figure that suddenly appeared. Everyone's eyes were also focused on that figure. It was a young man. His entire body was enveloped in divine splendor and filled with a faint aura of time. He was like a figure who had walked from the past to the present. He was dressed in an extremely simple cloth robe. His appearance was also extremely ordinary, plain, and simple. There was nothing special about him, let alone handsome. He was the kind that would be hard to find in a crowd. He couldn't leave a distinct impression on others. He was completely unlike Jun Xiaoyao, who was unforgettable just by looking at him. However, such an ordinary-looking young man exuded the aura of a quasi-supreme being. Many people felt his aura and realized with shock. This seemed to be just a Dharma body. This was terrifying. A word appeared in their minds. A seed-level figure. This man was a seed-level figure. When Junin Emperor saw this person, he immediately went forward and bowed with great respect. Emperor. Jun Xingyan also cupped her hands towards the young man. Emperor, Emperor. Everyone who saw this scene was somewhat astonished. This young man was from the Jun family. No, strictly speaking, he was a seed of the Jun family's hidden lineage. Emperor, could it that person? Some of the older generation Grand Knights of the immortal realm seemed to have thought of something, and their faces suddenly changed. They thought of a person. Emperor Jun Bieli. This was definitely a low-profile and terrifying existence. Ordinary, but a dragon among men. Emperor, at this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's body was severely cracked. However, his expression was extremely calm, and his eyes were deep. Son of God, Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Bieli's expression was indifferent, without any emotion. The mysterious seed-level figure from before was him. One was the son of God of the Jun family's main branch, and the other was the emperor of the Jun family's hidden branch. These two represented the top level of the Jun family's younger generation. They were supposed to be on the same side, but now they were enemies. Could it be that you are one of the 7 emperors? Gu Tizi was stunned. Then, he suddenly thought of something and looked at Emperor Bieli. Emperor Bieli's expression was respectful. Gu Tizi understood. Emperor Bieli was not one of the 7 emperors. Jun Bieli was the real 7 emperors. He had been deceived. Damn it. Gu Tizi's expression was extremely ferocious, and it was extremely ugly. He was too smart for his own good. Jun Bieli had actually schemed so deeply that he had included him in the scheme as well. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. When the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. He had painstakingly planned this. In the end, it helped Jun Bieli, allowing him to reap the fruits of the battle. At this moment, the world was silent. Many people sighed. The will of the immortal region was too ruthless. It allowed the two most monstrous and powerful youths of the Jun family to fight each other. This method was too good. No wonder no one could fight against the heavens. It seems that you are the real one of the seven emperors. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was extremely calm. Jun Bieli smiled. As a seed-level figure of the Jun family's hidden branch, he had been sleeping for many eras and awakened from ancient history. His strength and temperament were far from what the current generation's geniuses could compare to. However, even so, Jun Xiaoyao was still a monstrous figure in his eyes. In the era he was born, there was no such monstrous figure. However, even so, today, he could not avoid the fall of a legend. Jun Xiaoyao, you are the target of the heavens. Do you have any last words? Jun Bieli asked lightly. He directly asked Jun Xiaoyao if he had any last words. This showed his confidence. Oh, you are so confident that you can kill me? Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows slightly. Jun Bieli smiled again. Although his appearance was ordinary, when he smiled, he gave people a feeling of cultured elegance. Do you know the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor? Jun Bieli suddenly asked. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed, and he nodded lightly. Of course I know him. He was an existence that shone through the ages and suppressed an era. The nine-fingered sage dragon emperor's inheritance was in the buried emperor's star. Then do you know who broke the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor's finger? Jun Bieli asked. Could it be? Jun Xiaoyao's expression was slightly surprised. His finger was broken because of me. Jun Bieli's indifferent words resounded through the vast starry sky. The other side was still fine, as they did not know much about the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor. However, on the immortal region's side, everyone's expressions froze. Many people knew about the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor's legend. Ever since he appeared, he had swept through his generation and was invincible, shining brightly in that era. However, when he was young, he had fought a great battle with a mysterious genius. They agreed that if he lost, he would lose a finger. In the end, the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor really lost, and it was within 100 moves. In the end, that mysterious genius did not leave behind his name, only leaving behind a sentence. Who in the world did not know him? Now, the truth was revealed. The mysterious genius who defeated the young, nine-fingered sage dragon emperor was the son of heaven in front of them, Jun Bieli. Everyone was shocked. The immortal region's cultivators all sucked in a breath of cold air to be able to defeat the young emperor, and within 100 moves. How monstrous was Jun Bieli? No wonder he had the confidence to say such words. Go on your way in peace. I am enough for the Jun family. Jun Bieli attacked casually, without the slightest trace of anger. The ordinary-looking palm was just like his appearance, giving people a feeling of indifference. However, if those who were truly skilled saw it, they would be horrified. This was returning to one's natural state, the simple embodiment of returning to the great Tao. Jun Bieli's every move was ordinary, but it contained the essence of the great Tao. This was the most terrifying part. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flickered secretly. At this moment, his physical body and inner universe were using all their strength to seal the god's evil intent, and he already had no strength to resist. I hope you will keep your word, Jun Xiaoyao muttered inwardly. Chapter 889. It was as if time had stopped at this moment. Jun Xiaoyao was attacked by someone he would have never expected to see coming. Jun Bieli's palm, which seemed to have returned to its original state, blasted towards Jun Xiaoyao. At this moment, the other emperors did not make a move, because they knew that they could not compete with Jun Bieli. Unless they could obtain an immortal-level fortune in the future, they would not be able to catch up with such a monstrous seedling. Time slowed down, then slowed down again. Ling Yan's eyes widened silently. A teardrop fell from the corner of her eye. It was unknown whether that teardrop belonged to Ling Yan or Fairy Yuan, or both. At this moment, a shadow suddenly flashed past beside Ling Yan. On the other side, Jun Bieli's palm was about to blast towards Jun Xiaoyao. A slender, pale silhouette abruptly flashed and stood in front of Jun Xiaoyao, shielding him. It was Xianyu. You. Jun Xiaoyao was also a little surprised. I've already made a mistake once, and I don't want to make the same mistake a second time. even if I know that you might just be an illusion in my heart. Under the mask, Xian Yu's voice was trembling. She knew that Jun Xiaoyao was not her brother. She knew that Jun Xiaoyao also had hostility and killing intent towards her. But Xian Yu just could not let it go. Perhaps this was also her obsession. Jun Bieli's expression was still indifferent. Although Xian Yu was strong, she was still not enough in front of a seedling. Bang! A wisp of aura directly sent Xian Yu flying, and she spat out blood. Then, Jun Bieli's palm imprinted on Jun Xiaoyao's chest. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, Jun Xiaoyao's body was on the verge of disintegrating. At his chest, the dazzling supremacy bone erupted with endless light, trying to resist. But with a cracking sound, the supremacy bone also cracked, and endless light leaked out. His body cracked. The supremacy bone shattered. At that moment, Jun Xiaoyao was facing the biggest crisis he had ever faced since he was born. Rumble. At the last moment, Jun Xiaoyao used his ultimate move with all his might. Countless void abysses appeared in the surroundings, and layers of dimensional rifts covered the vast expanse like spiderwebs. Every abyssal chasm seemed to lead to an unknown dimension of chaos. It was the chaotic heaven's secret technique, eternal banishment. That's ancient chaos great emperor's chaotic heaven secret technique. What's the point of using the secret technique now? Cultivators were exclaiming from all directions. The ancient chaos great emperor's famous technique, the chaotic heaven secret technique, was known by everyone. Its might was extremely terrifying as well. Once it was utilized, the heavens and the earth would collapse, and it could banish one's enemies into the endless chaotic abyss of space. But now, what was the use of Jun Xiaoyao using this move? If Jun Xiaoyao was at his peak, he might have been able to threaten Jun Bieli with this move. However, the problem was that Jun Xiaoyao was using his own physical body to seal the powerful evil thoughts of the gods. His condition could be said to be extremely poor, and he had no extra energy to resist. Even without Jun Bieli's help, Jun Xiaoyao might not be able to survive. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao had no chance of turning the tables. Something's not right. Some people reacted, because the one approaching the void abysses wasn't Jun Xiaoyao, but Jun Xiaoyao. The person Jun Xiaoyao wanted to banish wasn't Jun Bieli. It was himself. It's over. Jun Bieli activated his vast divine power, and his palm struck out once again. Facing this palm that was almost certain to kill him, Jun Xiaoyao smiled instead. His white clothes were stained with blood, and his expression was extremely calm as he spoke. I've always hoped that someone could defeat me, because I'm standing at the peak. It's a little cold. As soon as he finished speaking, heaven and earth exploded. The heavens shook. Jun Xiaoyao's physical body disintegrated with a loud bang. His primordial spirit was also destroyed at this moment. A cloud of blood mist, together with the broken bones and the destroyed primordial spirit, fell into the endless void abysses. This was a forbidden technique that could banish a person into layers of chaotic space. Just the spatial turbulence alone was enough to tear everything apart. Not to mention that Jun Xiaoyao had already been killed by Jun Bieli. Along with the cloud of blood mist and broken bones, Xian Yu also fell into the abyss. They fell into the endless unknown together. In the void, the abysses began to gradually close. However, the entire world of the ruins of God was already dead silent. No one made a sound. Even the foreign experts were stunned. They were stunned, as if they had been petrified. The evil intent of the gods had disappeared along with the fallen Jun Xiaoyao, banished into the chaotic void abysses. In other words, their mission this time was a complete failure. Not only did they not break through the ruins of God, instead, they lost a large number of elite geniuses. Even the geniuses of the quasi-emperor clans had fallen. Only Tushan Xiao and Pu Yao were left. Just the word tragic was enough to describe it. He's really dead. Tushan Xiao raised her jade-like hand and looked at her snow-white wrist. The red thread of fate connected to Jun Xiaoyao had already disappeared. This meant that Jun Xiaoyao had really fallen. Tushan Xiao was very disappointed. She had finally found a good fate, but in the end, he had fallen. On the other hand, Hu Yao breathed a deep sigh of relief. Jun Xiaoyao was a monster. In his opinion, if Jun Xiaoyao did not die, he would definitely be a huge threat to the foreign realm in the future. Not to mention the 10 heavenly kings, even the 7 minor emperors would not be able to gain any advantage against Jun Xiaoyao. However, the expressions of the other foreign creatures were very ugly, because the most important thing was not done. The world of the ruins of God was not broken through. They had also lost a large number of young experts. Let's retreat. The faces of the foreign quasi-supreme experts were gloomy and ugly to the extreme. There was no point in continuing to stay in the world of the ruins of God. The foreign great army began to retreat in a grandiose manner. What a pity, an extraordinary man. Tushan Xiao still felt that it was a bit of a pity, releasing a light sigh. Facing the retreat of the foreign army, Immortal Domain's side didn't show much activity. It was because most of the cultivators were in a petrified state, completely lifeless, as if they lost their souls. The radiance that covered the entire era, the number one of the younger generation. Jun family son of God, Jun Xiaoyao really fell. Son of God, great one. Meng Zhan roared out, his tiger eyes containing tears. White-clothed divine King Jun Wuhui fought against the foreign new Emperor Scarlet Owl King, his whereabouts unknown even now. His son, Jun Xiaoyao, sacrificed himself to seal the evil will of a deity. In the end, he also died, a family with 2 loyal martyrs. Just how sorrowful was this? Son of God, great one. Countless border soldiers were weeping in grief, howling in grief. At this moment, it wasn't only within the world of the ruins of God. Outside the world of the ruins of God, 4th Master Scar and the other border elders were also like weathered mountain rocks, standing rigidly in place. The world of the ruins of God was saved. However, the price paid. It was precisely Jun Xiaoyao who fell. A youngster who might be able to rewrite history fell. Son of God, how could this be? 4th Master Scar's aged body was trembling. The son of a benefactor, loyal and righteous, following his father's figure. He used a method of sacrificing himself to protect the border pass, as well as protect Immortal Domain. Chapter 890. In the world of the ruins of God, Meng Zhan and the other border warriors knelt down on one knee in front of the gradually closing crack in the void. Jun Xiaoyao was worthy of their kneeling. How was this possible? Xiaoyao, Jun Lingsong, Lord Grimm, and the others couldn't believe it. It was as if 100,000 claps of thunder were ringing in their minds. The main branch of the Jun family was the pillar of the younger generation. It collapsed, and the one who did it was the emperor of the hidden branch of the Jun family. It would be difficult for them to even take revenge, unless there was a civil war in the Jun family. But the Jun family couldn't bear such an outcome. It would only benefit the Xianting and other forces. Young Master, Yu Changwan seemed to have lost her soul. Her delicate face was as white as paper, and her body was trembling. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. It was Jun Xiaoyao who saved her from the abyss. But now, Jun Xiaoyao sacrificed himself and fell into the abyss of the void. Ling Yuan's slender and delicate figure that was like a fairy's was frozen on the spot. I should be happy, but why? Ling Yin slowly raised her delicate hand and touched a teardrop at the corner of her eye. Her identity was the young emperor of the Xianting, and she was Jun Xiaoyao's sworn enemy. Jun Xiaoyao's death was a good thing for the Xianting and her. But Ling Yin couldn't feel happy at all. It was as if a large piece of her heart had been dug out, leaving an unfilled hole. The sound of the wind was echoing. He's dead. A legend has fallen. The Feather King sighed. He turned his head slightly and saw Yu Yinchang. Yu Yinchang's eyes were red. When she looked at him, there was an unprecedented coldness and disgust. She was no longer the sister who worshipped her brother. It's good that he's dead, but the heavenly crown... Ji Daoi stared at Jun Bieli. Jun Xiaoyao's death was good for Ji Daoi and Gu Tizi. But the problem was that they couldn't get the heavenly crown. Not only them, everyone was waiting for a response from the heavens. If the heavenly Dao crown really descended, it would mean that Jun Xiaoyao had really fallen. In this game against the heavens, the will of the immortal realm had won. But if the heavenly Tao crown did not descend, it meant that Jun Xiaoyao might still have a chance of survival. Drip, drip, drip. Time seemed to have turned into a tangible sound. Many people's hearts were beating nervously. Rumble. Suddenly, the heavenly Tao rumbled like thunder. Extravagant extravagance. Golden lotus blooms from the earth. Auspicious signs emerged. Phantoms of true dragons, divine phoenixes, Chilants, Pishio, and other auspicious beasts appeared in the void. Countless patterns of the great Tao interweaved, and an auspicious golden light surged. A brilliant crown engraved with runes of the heavenly Tao descended from the rift. This crown had no color, or rather, it was the color of chaos. All sorts of laws, runes, and great Taos interweaved, forming a supreme crown. Wearing the crown meant that one would become a great emperor. The heavenly Tao crown has appeared. The Son of God has really fallen. Seeing the heavenly Tao crown, Meng Zhan and the others mourned. They would rather the heavenly Tao crown not appear. Ling Yin, Yu Chanwan, and Yu Yinchang were trembling. Since the heavenly Tao crown had appeared, there was no suspense. Jun Xiaoyao is really dead, but what a pity. Gu Tizi's gaze was fixed on the heavenly Tao crown. Jun Xiaoyao's death had made Gu Tizi very happy and carefree. However, Jun Bieli had taken the heavenly Tao crown. For the heavenly Tao crown, Gu Tizi had even given up the position of young emperor to Ling Yin. But now his cleverness had backfired. Gu Tizi did not gain any advantage at all. As for snatching it, there was probably no one present who could deal with Jun Bieli. Even those quasi-supreme level Grand Knights were not Jun Bieli's match. His Dharma body alone was already at the quasi-supreme level. His real body would only be more terrifying. Jun Bieli was dressed in plain clothes. His appearance was ordinary, and his black hair was simply tied up with a cloth band. His entire person seemed to be flowing with a simple charm. Facing the heavenly Tao crown that countless people coveted, his expression was very calm. However, to everyone's surprise, Jun Bieli did not wear the heavenly Tao crown directly. Instead, he put it away. What is the Jun family's emperor thinking? Some people were puzzled. Most of the people present were hostile to Jun Bieli. After all, Jun Xiaoyao was a hero who sacrificed himself to save the immortal region. However, Jun Bieli had killed this hero with his own hands. If not for the fact that Jun Bieli was the emperor of the Jun family's hidden branch and a seedling, Meng Zhan and the others would probably not be able to resist and attack him. However, looking at it now, Jun Bieli did not seem to care too much about the heavenly Tao crown. In other words, he did not care about the heavenly Tao crown. Jun Bieli, what do you mean by this? Gu Tizi's face darkened, and he could not help but ask. The heavenly Tao crown that he had schemed and racked his brains to obtain seemed to be nothing in Jun Bieli's eyes. This made him even more unhappy. Jun Bieli glanced at Gu Tizi indifferently. In his eyes, there was an indifference that disregarded everything. What's so difficult about proving one's Tao and becoming an emperor? Is there really a piece of trash who needs the heavenly Tao crown to become an emperor? Jun Bieli's words stunned everyone present, especially Gu Tizi, Ji Daoi, and the others. Their faces were ashen. Weren't these words belittling them to dust? Moreover, if becoming an emperor was not difficult, what was difficult? However, everyone thought about it again. Jun Bieli had defeated the young, nine-fingered sage dragon emperor within 100 moves. It was not difficult for him to become an emperor. He just lacked a true great era. This era was a true great era. That was why Jun Bieli chose to come out. Congratulations, Emperor. Jun Yinhuang cupped his hands. Jun Xingyin also cupped her hands slightly, but there was a complicated look in her eyes. It seems like you think that I was wrong. Jun Bieli glanced at Jun Xingyin. Xingyin doesn't dare, Jun Xingyin replied. Jun Bieli shook his head slightly. Without saying anything, he turned and left. Many hidden gazes stared at Jun Bieli. They were filled with hatred, and hatred. Jun Xiaoyao's reputation had reached its peak the moment he sealed the evil spirit of the god. As for Jun Bieli, he naturally had to bear everyone's cold gazes. However, he did not care. It's over. Feather King sighed deeply. He walked to Yu Yunchang's side. Stay away from me. Yu Yunchang's voice was hoarse and cold. Her eyes were still red. She did not expect her brother, whom she had always admired, to be such a person. Yunchang, there are some things that we don't have a choice about. If I wasn't one of the 7 emperors, if he wasn't Jun Xiaoyao, perhaps we would have become true friends. The ascendant king smiled with a hint of self-mockery and a hint of helplessness. The crowd dispersed. Each of them had different emotions as they prepared to return to the border. However, it was not hard to imagine that the shock caused by Jun Xiaoyao's death had only just begun. Jun Xiaoyao's death involved too many things. The Jun family, the Jiang family, the Emperor's Hall. Jun Xiaoyao's death would surely cause a great commotion that would sweep across the entire 9 heavens immortal realm. The curtains of the gamble against the heavens had finally come to an end. Jun Xiaoyao had lost. However, was that really the case? Chapter 891. The Ruins of God was saved in the end. However, the vast majority of people were unable to feel happy. Even Jun Xiaoyao's archenemies, Gu Tizi, Ji Daoi, and the others, were unhappy. They did not get any benefits, and Jun Bieli had taken all the fruits of their labor. In a certain galaxy in the Ruins of God, a man and a woman were traversing the void. It was Ji Daoi and Ji Qingyi. Cough, cough. That Jun Xiaoyao is really a demon. If he had not sacrificed himself to seal the evil spirit of the god, even Jun Bieli might not have defeated him. Ji Daoi clutched his chest and coughed up blood. In the final battle between the 7 emperors and Jun Xiaoyao, he was severely injured. Even though he had taken an elixir, it would be difficult for him to recover in a short time. But it doesn't matter. Jun Xiaoyao is dead. Next, I need all the resources of the human immortal sect. Also, I have to return to my family above the 9 heavens in the future and transform. Only then can I catch up to those seedlings. Ji Daoi had already started a plan for his future. After all, Jun Xiaoyao's glory had shone on this great world. After Jun Xiaoyao's death, the heroes naturally rose, and the kings fought for supremacy. It would depend on who could seize this opportunity to replace Jun Xiaoyao and become the new leader of the immortal domain. Qing-Yi, we can go to the ruins of the human immortal sect together. If you are willing, you can follow me back to my family above the 9 heavens. I will not treat you unfairly. But before Ji Daoi could finish his sentence, Puchi, an indescribably strong force, came from behind, shattering Ji Daoi's physical body. Ji Daoi's human immortal body was originally very strong. However, after going through the battle with Jun Xiaoyao, his physical body was already as fragile as cracked porcelain, unable to withstand even a single blow. Ji Qingyi, Ji Daoi, who was only left with his primordial spirit, looked at Ji Qingyi in disbelief. Ji Daoi, it would appear that you're even weaker than Qing imagined you to be. Ji Qingyi wore a green dress that was surrounded by immortal splendor. Every strand of her hair was sparkling and translucent. Her entire being was pure and flawless, like a green lotus that had just bloomed. Her face was covered with a veil, and her eyes were as clear as a lake. They were as bright as the stars, but they were also as tranquil and deep as the autumn water. His entire being seemed otherworldly, untainted by dust, and aloof from the world. However, the things she did not match her temperament. Even Ji Daoi was shocked to the extreme. What? Ji Daoi was completely stunned, unable to react. Although Ji Qingyi was not his Dao companion, she was still his assistant. What? Ji Qingyi's expression was calm as she slowly raised her hand. A ray of light appeared from Ji Daoi's exploded flesh and blood, and finally landed in her jade-like hand. It was the Emperor's seal of Dao verification. That's because Qingyi is one of the 7 emperors. Ji Qingyi's voice was as clear and pleasant as spring water. However, the words he said caused Ji Dao's heart to turn cold. Only then did he recall that when he had obtained the Tao verification seal, Ji Qing, he had also been in seclusion in the cave abode next door. Could it be this Emperor's seal of Tao verification had been targeted at Ji Qing from start? However, she had been scheming and had not obtained it herself. Instead, she had pushed Ji Daoi to the teeth of the storm. No wonder the Emperor's seal of Tao verification could not enter Ji Daoi's body. It turned out that he was not one of the 7 emperors at all. It was just that Ji Qing had pushed the Emperor's seal of Tao verification to Ji Daoi. If Ji Daoi could really threaten or even severely injure Jun Xiaoyao, then Ji Qing could directly reveal her true self and replace him to reap the rewards of the battle. If Ji Daoi could not do it, Ji Qing could completely cut off all ties. She would not lose anything. This scheme was even more sinister than Gu Tizi's. She was completely treating him as a tool. Ji Qing, you be asterisk tch, just you wait. Ji Daoi's primordial spirit shouted, then turned around and was about to escape. Ji Qing's expression was still as calm as water when she heard Ji Daoi scolding. Qing is not willing to become someone's assistant. In this great world, Qing will also have her own glory. Ji Qing raised her hand, and her white hand shone with divine light. Resplendent divine light flashed. If he was at his peak, Ji Daoi naturally would not have been reduced to such a sorry state by Ji Qing. At the very least, he could have passed on the situation to the human immortal sect. But now, things had happened so suddenly that Ji Daoi did not expect it at all. Ji Qing's scheme was so deep. Her delicate and pretty appearance was too deceiving. Boom! After one move, Ji Daoi died. He was the heir of the human immortal sect, the young master of a forbidden family in the 9 heavens. No one would believe that he had died in such a baffling and sullen manner. Of course, this news would not spread. The only news that would spread would be that Ji Daoi, who was already severely injured, had been killed by the remaining foreign assassins. Jun Xiaoyao, unless I had no other choice, Qing Yi really did not want to be your enemy. And reality has also proven that Qing Yi's choice was correct. There is no benefit in being your enemy. But have you really died? Ji Qing Yi's crystal clear eyes were incomparably deep. As someone who had interacted with Jun Xiaoyao in the Huangtian mystic realm before, Ji Qing Yi felt that Ji Daoi was not someone who would die. She did not think that Jun Xiaoyao was such a selfless person. Ji Qing even thought that Jun Xiaoyao was the same as her. They were both exquisite egoists. Would such a person sacrifice himself for the greater good of the mystic realm? At least, Ji Qing did not believe that. No, if Jun Xiaoyao really faked his death, then the heavens would not have sent down the heavenly Tao crown. No matter how scheming Jun Xiaoyao is, he can't outsmart the heavens. Ji Qing thought about it and shook her head slightly. She had to admit that Jun Xiaoyao was a scheming man, but she also did not think that Jun Xiaoyao could outsmart the heavens. Ji Qing Yi's hand shook, and the Emperor's seal of Tao disappeared. No one would know that she was one of the 7 emperors. What a pity. I thought that Jun Xiaoyao would be a good partner to work with. With his absolute strength and my scheming, the 2 of us together can dominate this great world. Ji Qing still felt that it was a pity. Forget it. After Jun Xiaoyao's legend ends, it will be the era of seeds and flowers blooming. Hundreds of flowers blooming, hundreds of boats competing. It is very important to see who can take over Jun Xiaoyao's position and fortune. I should also find a seed to work with. Ji Qing Yi's clear eyes were as deep as the sea. After Ji Daoi, who will be the next fool to fall into Ji Qing Yi's trap? After the incident, the surviving cultivators of the mystic realm left the world of divine ruins one after another. This time, a large number of border guards from the mystic realm had also fallen. Many Grand Knights had also fallen. There were even outlawed sky prides like the Yama Emperor who had fallen. However, even if the losses of all those who had fallen were added up, they could not compare to Jun Xiaoyao alone. Jun Bieli walked out of the world of divine ruins with his hands behind his back and a calm expression. His appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention. Junbieli, do you know what you've done? The fourth Master Scar suppressed his unprecedented anger and stared coldly at Junbieli. Chapter 892. What did I do? I was just following the will of the heavens. Junbieli's expression was as calm as water. The fourth Master Scar was like an enraged lion. Even with his cultivation level and temperament, it was difficult for him to calm down at this moment. Senior, I'm just a Dharma body. It's meaningless for you to attack me, Junbieli said calmly. His appearance was plain and ordinary. However, facing the fourth Master Scar, this chaosed out sovereign was very calm and did not show the slightest hint of nervousness. Sigh. The fourth Master Scar sighed deeply. Junbieli's identity was too special. As the emperor of the hidden branch of the Jun family, he was also a seedling. Not many people dared to attack him. Young man, you're on your own. The fourth Master Scar waved his hand. Not only him, but the other elders at the border also had cold looks in their eyes. At this moment, Junbieli could be said to be condemned and despised by everyone. However, Junbieli did not care. His expression was still as calm as water. He also had his own obsession. For this obsession, he had to get the heavenly crown. Junbieli was not the only one who was targeted. There was also Gu Tizi. In the beginning, he was the one who targeted Jun Xiaoyao the most. In the end, when Jun Xiaoyao used his body to seal the evil spirit of the god, Gu Tizi even wanted to sneak up on him. However, Junbieli took the peach. Feeling the dark and disdainful looks of many people, Gu Tizi's face was ashen. His lungs were about to explode. Although Junbieli was also condemned by the masses, at least he had obtained the heavenly Dao crown. What about Gu Tizi? He was also despised and did not get the heavenly crown. Even the position of young emperor was given to Ling Yin. It could be said that after this series of events, Gu Tizi was the one who suffered the most. He could even replace the 10 princes of Jinwu as the spokesperson of the word tragic. At this moment, Gu Tizi's mood was as bad as if he had eaten **T. Everyone began to retreat from the ruins of God one after another. On the other side, Jun Lingsong and Lord Grimm arrived in front of Junbieli. Seeing this, many of the surrounding cultivators cast their gazes over. The emperor of the hidden branch of the Jun family had killed the son of God of the main branch. How would the two branches interact in the future? Is there really going to be a civil war in the Jun family? Junbieli, our main bloodline will not let you off so easily. Jun Lingsong's gaze was very cold. In his double pupils, the light of chaos surged. He really wanted to make a move. However, Junbieli was only a Dharma body, so there was no point in attacking him. I will bear all the consequences, Junbieli said indifferently. After the matter was over, the fourth Master Scar led a group of prodigies back to the original imperial city. The news about Jun Xiaoyao spread like a storm from the original monarch city to the ancient road of ultimate and the entire nine heavens immortal realm. The ancient road of ultimate, a certain land of death. A woman in a long black dress with wings of the fallen angel on her back, like an icy fallen angel, felt her heart skipping a beat. What? What happened to the young master? The woman was none other than Yin Qingying. Elsewhere, a powerful man shrouded in the will of reincarnation shuddered when he heard the news about Jun Xiaoyao's death. The young master is dead? How is that possible? Wang Chuan could not believe it. Yu, the goddess of eternal calamity, and Jun Xiaoyao's followers too. They cannot believe it after hearing the news. The buried Emperor Star, with a succession of the nine-fingered sacred dragon emperor was. Bang! Following a shocking explosion, a fierce dragon aura spread in all directions. The illusionary figure of an ancient dragon was imprinted in the sky. A tall and slender figure appeared. Her hair drifted in the wind. Her body was elegant and smooth like white jade. She was barefoot as she kicked the rift. It was none other than Princess Longji. After receiving the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor's inheritance, Princess Longji's talent and strength had skyrocketed. Compared to those outlawed sky prides, she was only stronger. The sacred dragon emperor once said that his only wish was for his descendants to make up for the regrets he had when he was young. Princess Longji mumbled to herself. The regret the sacred dragon emperor mentioned was naturally the mysterious sky pride who had defeated him when he was young. I wonder where Master is now. Princess Longji's beautiful eyes were filled with joy and anticipation. In the past, she was only qualified to be Jun Xiaoyao's mount. However, now that she had received the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor's inheritance, she was finally qualified to follow by Jun Xiaoyao's side. After Princess Longji came out of seclusion, she soon heard the news of Jun Xiaoyao's death. She could not believe it. Her delicate body was trembling. What was even more unexpected was the culprit behind Jun Xiaoyao's death was Jun Bieli, who had defeated the nine-fingered sage dragon emperor when he was young. New grudges and old grudges added together. Princess Longji's beautiful eyes were filled with shocking anger. Of course, these people were not the only ones who were shocked by Jun Xiaoyao's death. Jiao, Yin Rumeng, Xiao Maxian, Taiyin Jade Hair, Xiao Bingyun, Jun Mulan. No one who had anything to do with Jun Xiaoyao wanted to believe the news. Jiang Luoli, who was training alone, heard this news. Her mind went blank. She did not cry. She only felt that this was a lie. She would never believe that the white-robed figure who had always given her a sense of security and always stood in front of her would die. Yes, Jiang Luoli would not believe it at all. Even if it was self-deception, she would not believe it. On the other side, Jiang Xingyi was cultivating in seclusion at the core of the Jade Lake sacred ground. She was undergoing the transformation of her Khanate Dao embryo and refining the nine-orifice stone embryo. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. It was as if needles were pricking her. Master, did something happen? Jiang Xingyi asked. Nothing. Everything is calm. Sheng Yi, you can cultivate in peace. Yu Qingning had already reconstructed her body. Her face was like jade as she transmitted her voice. Is that so? Jiang Xingyi muttered to herself. There was an inexplicable look in her eyes. Outside, a beautiful woman in a white robe said to Yu Qingning with a worried expression. Senior Qingning, are you really not going to tell Sheng Yi about Jun Xiaoyao's death? This beautiful woman was the current sacred leader of the Jade Lake sacred ground. Do you think that Sheng Yi did not notice? Yu Qingning asked. Senior, are you saying that Sheng Yi already knows that something happened to Jun Xiaoyao? The Jade Lake sacred leader asked in surprise. Yu Qingning nodded slightly. She should have noticed it. However, she has absolute confidence in Jun Xiaoyao. Senior, do you think that Jun Xiaoyao has really died? The Jade Lake sacred leader asked. Let's be realistic. The Jade Lake sacred ground was willing to nurture Jiang Xingyi and make her the next sacred leader. It was not only because of Jiang Xingyi's strength and talent. It was also because she had a close relationship with Jun Xiaoyao. In the future, when one person achieved the Tao, everyone around him would ascend to heaven. The entire Jade Lake sacred ground would become a top immortal force. If Jun Xiaoyao had really died, the impact would be too far-reaching. I'm not sure about this. However, Jun Xiaoyao's opponent this time is the heavens. Yu Qingning sighed. Even a heavenly crown had fallen. This proved that Jun Xiaoyao had really died. Could it be that Jun Xiaoyao had the ability to deceive the heavens? Chapter 893. Huangtian Mystic Realm, Jun family of the Emperor State. After the news of Jun Xiaoyao's death spread, countless creatures in the entire Huangtian Mystic Realm could feel it. The entire Mystic Realm seemed to be trembling. The source of the tremor was the Jun family of the Emperor State. At this moment, the Jun family was in an uproar. Many young people of the Jun family were screaming and wailing in disbelief. Jun Xiaoyao could be said to be the pillar of the younger generation of the Jun family, an existence like faith. Some of the descendants of the Jun family would even teach them that they must be like Xiaoyao in the future. He wanted to be a man with an indomitable spirit who could sweep through everything and possess an invincible spirit. It was obvious that Jun Xiaoyao's reputation and prestige in the Jun family had won the hearts of the people. It could be said that as long as Jun Xiaoyao was willing, he could be the head of the Jun family whenever he wanted. No one in the Jun family would object. But now this faith had collapsed. Many people were unwilling to believe it even now, thinking that it was fake news. As for Jiang Ro, she fainted when she heard the news. Previously, there was news that one of Jun Wuhui's 3 pure ones had gone missing in the battle with the Red Owl King of the Foreign Realm. Now, there was news of Jun Xiaoyao's death. As a woman, Jiang Ro found it hard to accept. There were also Jun Linglong, Jun Ing-er, Nalan Ruashi, and Su Ziqiang. They had not stepped onto the imperial road and had been cultivating in the Jun family. Now that they heard the news of Jun Xiaoyao's death, they were sobbing. Of course, the Jun family was not the only one in chaos. The Jiang family of the clan of the ancients was also unable to calm down. Jun Xiaoyao's grandfather, Jiang Daoxiu, was also emotional. His grandson had once ventured into the ancient burial ground alone to search for the 9 Wonders reincarnation immortal grass for his sake. But now, there was news like this which he could not accept. If the one who attacked Jun Xiaoyao was not someone from the hidden branch of the Jun family. If it were another force, Jiang Daoxiu would have led the entire Jiang family of the ancients to destroy that force. Dao Su, please calm down for now. The Jun family has yet to make a move. After all, this matter is related to the hidden branch of the Jun family. It would be inappropriate for us to intervene directly, a great ancestor of the Jiang family advised. If the matter is really confirmed, then I won't let off those people that made a move against my grandson. Jiang Daoxiu's killing intent was shocking. Of course, Xiaoyao is also the young master of our Jiang clan. Half of the Jiang clan's blood flows in his veins. The patriarchs of the Jiang family nodded. Most people addressed Jun Xiaoyao as the son of God of the Jun family. However, he forgot that he was also the young master of the Jiang family. Although the Jiang family kept a low profile, it was still a clan of the ancients, which could not be ignored. Meanwhile, in the ancestral hall of the Jun family in the Emperor's state, the great ancestors of the Jun family were all sitting cross-legged there. Their leader was one of the 8 ancestors of the Jun family, Jun Tianming. In addition, Jun Xiaoyao's grandfather, Jun Zhantian, was also present. His beard was unshaven, and his eyes were bloodshot. His mental state was not very good. It has been confirmed that Xiaoyao's life tablet has shattered. He should have really died, the 16th ancestor said in a deep voice. Damn it, how dare that Jun Bieli of the Hidden Branch do this? The 18th ancestor lost his composure and could not help but shout. When Jun Xiaoyao was born, he was the first to be alarmed and crawled out of the ground. It could be said that he had watched Jun Xiaoyao grow up. Naturally, he was the one who had the deepest feelings for him. He was no different from his own grandfather. 18th ancestor, don't be hasty. We still need to make a decision about the specific situation, the 17th ancestor said. That's right. If it were any other forces, we could just destroy them directly. However, we still need to think about the hidden branch, the 15th ancestor said. The hidden branch's strength was only slightly weaker than the main branch, but it was definitely not that much weaker. If they really had to go to war with the hidden branch, the price they would have to pay would be too high. When that time came, the Jun family would be damaged without the need for Xianting to make a move. Not to mention that the foreign world was eyeing them covetously, and the flames of war were about to ignite. The Jun family could not afford to have a civil war at this time. Then, are we just going to let the matter of Xiaoyao go? The 18th ancestor retorted. Of course not. However, if we really want to go to war with the hidden branch, we still need the agreement of the ancient ancestors before we can do so, the 14th ancestor said. The great ancestors of the Jun family's ancestral hall in the Emperor state were all 7th-level supremes. Although their seniority was not low, they were not the oldest. The ancient ancestors of the Jun family, who were above the boundary Emperor realm, were not in the ancestral hall. They were either in the starry sky, unknown dangerous places, or slumbering in ancient forbidden lands. Those ancient ancestors were the ones who truly had the right to speak in the Jun family. Moreover, going to war with the hidden branch was different from going to war with other forces. If other immortal forces were to be destroyed, then so be it. It was not a big deal to the Jun family. However, the hidden branch had a very deep foundation. Moreover, They were the same bloodline, so there was still some kinship between them. It was because of this that the 18th ancestor said that it would be best if Jun Xiaoyao could return from the hidden branch if possible. However, he did not expect things to turn out this way. If I may ask, great ancestor Tianming, did the ancient ancestors give any orders? The 16th ancestor asked among the ancestors. Jun Tianming, the 8th ancestor who was sitting cross-legged on the main seat, remained calm and did not speak. At this moment, Jun Tianming raised his eyelids and said, "The ancient ancestors did not give any orders. Could it be because Xiaoyao is not dead? But that's impossible. The heavenly crown has already fallen. Some of the great ancestors guessed. No one could fool the heavens. Everyone, don't worry. Those ancient ancestors naturally have their own plans. If they really angered the Jun family, it would not be difficult for them to overturn the heavens." Jun Tianming's tone was calm, but what he said was extremely shocking. To put it bluntly, playing a game with the heavens was just a test for Jun Xiaoyao. If the Jun family really wanted to cheat, they could have found the 7 emperors one by one from the beginning. There would not have been so much trouble. It was just that the Jun family wanted Jun Xiaoyao to go through some trials and tribulations. Ancient ancestors, do you mean? The 18th ancestor was deep in thought. Don't worry. Let the bullets fly for a while, but it's time to knock some forces down a peg. Jun Tianming's eyes revealed a meaningful look. The Jun family's great ancestors were now a little angry. They naturally had to vent their anger. It was time to find a punching bag. On the other side, outside the original imperial city, Jun Bieli and the others were preparing to return to the hidden lineage. An invisible wave seemed to come from billions of miles away in the universe. Even though they were separated by such a distance, the pressure was still horrifying. A quasi-emperor. This was the power of a quasi-emperor. Jun Bieli greets the elders of the main lineage. Jun Bieli was dressed in plain, and unadorned clothes. He faced the void and cupped his hands slightly. "Do you have any instructions?" A calm and old voice was heard. Jun Bieli's eyes flashed slightly. He cupped his hands and said, "In the future, Bieli will go to the main lineage of the Jun family and ask for forgiveness." Is this something that can be solved by asking for forgiveness? Jun Bieli was speechless for a moment. At this moment, another wave came from the distant universe. "Jun Tai, you still have your old temper. Don't put down your face and make things difficult for the younger generation." This wave was the voice of an old woman. "It's you, Jun Suihua. You old hag, you're still alive?" Jun Suihua. The name sounded very old-fashioned and even ridiculous. However, she was an extremely old ancestor of the hidden lineage. She had been in the quasi-emperor realm for many years, and her strength was unfathomable. She could feel the waves of 2 quasi-emperors from the main and hidden lineages of the Jun family. Many of the surrounding spying gazes were filled with shock. Could it be that the Jun family was really going to have a civil war? Chapter 894. You're still alive. How can I die? Jun Suihua's divine will was transmitted from the void. These 2 ancestors of the Jun family seem to know each other. It seems like you're going to protect this kid. Life and death are predestined. Wealth and honor are determined by the heavens. Everything is predestined. There's a cause and effect. We'll see in the future. Jun Tai's divine will dissipated. Jun Bieli's expression was calm from beginning to end. It was as if he was not worried that the main bloodline would attack him. Soon, everything will come to an end. Jun Bieli smiled faintly, seeing that the 2 boundary emperors of the Jun family had no intention of confronting each other. Many of the important figures of the hidden forces were somewhat stunned. The Jun family's reaction was not in line with their usual arrogant style. However, some people thought that it was not appropriate for the hidden bloodline to attack directly. If it was any other force, the Jun family would have been destroyed long ago. Jun Bieli returned to the hidden bloodline. He came to a blessed enclave with extremely rich, immortal qi. Jun Xinyan and Jun Yinhuang followed behind him. In the center of this blessed land, there was a spirit spring. In the spring, a 30-foot-tall immortal source was floating. An old woman was sealed in the immortal source. She looked very old. Her hair was silver, and her face was full of wrinkles. However, one could vaguely see the outline of her youth. She was absolutely pure and beautiful. This is... Both Jun Qingyan and Junin Wang were confused. Could this be one of Jun Bieli's elders? However, in the next moment, something happened that shocked the two of them. Jun Bieli walked to the immortal source, reached out his hand, and touched it slowly. Qing, how many years has it been? I finally found a way to revive you and let us live together forever. That is, to give you the qualifications to become a great emperor. Jun Bieli's words stunned Jun Qingyan and Jun Inwang. Could it be? You must be confused. Why did I bear the infamy of killing my own bloodline to obtain the heavenly crown? It's because I can't let go of her. Perhaps it's selfish, but there's no other way. Perhaps everyone is selfish. Next, I will let the hidden bloodline return to the main bloodline. This is the only thing I can do. Jun Bieli's words stunned the two of them, especially Jun Qingyan. To be honest, in the beginning, she was indeed disgusted with Jun Bieli. She thought that he was a mean person who had no blood ties and only cared about himself. But now, there seemed to be another secret. Do you guys want to hear a story? I haven't told anyone in a long time. Jun Bieli smiled. The two of them were silent. However, Jun Bieli still said it. In Jun Bieli's era, he was a prodigy who stunned the universe. He was the supreme ruler of the hidden branch of the Jun family. He was above everyone else, overlooking the ups and downs of the world. All the proud daughters of heaven were only fit to look up to him. They didn't even have the right to stand by his side. Jun Bieli didn't think that he would fall in love with anyone. He devoted all of his efforts to cultivation. Until one day, he stopped at a certain ancient planet of the mortal world. While looking for a certain medicinal herb to concoct pills, he ran into the pure-looking, plain-clothed mortal world's tea-picking girl. Hey, don't you know the way? Hey, why don't we go to my house first? I'll make you some tea. Hey, why don't you know how to smile? You look a little dumb. It was hard to imagine. One of them was the ruler of the hidden branch of the Jun family, overlooking the world. One of them was a tea-gathering girl with a mortal body and no cultivation in the mortal world. Sometimes, fate was just like that. It was unreasonable. Jun Bieli didn't love the saints of the Holy Lands, the fairies of the great sex, or the proud daughters of heaven. He was only attracted to this mortal world's tea-picking girl. Of course, Jun Bieli didn't fall in love with her immediately. He thought that this tea-picking girl, Li Qing'er, was just a passerby in his long life. Lifespan was nothing to Jun Bieli. However, to Li Qing'er, her life was only 100 years. After a short stay, Jun Bieli was about to leave. He looked at Li Qing'er, who was reluctant to leave. After a moment of silence, he left her a cultivation technique. If you can cultivate it, come to me in the future. Jun Bieli left right after he finished speaking. He thought that Li Qing'er was just a small ornament in his life. But who knew? Li Qing'er really learned the technique and went to the endless starry sky to look for Jun Bieli. It was only then that Li Qing'er realized that this ordinary man in her eyes was actually an extraordinary person. However, Li Qing'er still went to look for him. In the end, she found him. Jun Bieli didn't expect that the mortal world's tea-picking girl, who made his heart flutter, really came to look for him. One was the Jun family's emperor, and the other was a mortal world's tea-picking girl. The two of them knew each other and fell in love. However, Li Qing'er's talent was too low, and her cultivation was too weak. Even if Jun Bieli used all kinds of methods, he couldn't help her break through a bottleneck. Li Qing'er grew older day by day. As for Jun Bieli, he still looked young. Not to mention, Jun Bieli would often fall into a deep sleep, which would last an era. Li Qing'er was also sealed in the immortal source. However, as time passed, the flame of her life dimmed. Until one day, Li Qing'er grew old and became an old woman. She touched Jun Bieli's face and said with tears on her face, "You're still so young, but I'm already so old. No, Qing'er, in my heart, you're still the same as when we first met. After this deep sleep, it might be difficult for me to wake up again. No, I'll use all kinds of methods to wake you up." Li Qing'er cried. Before her immortal source was sealed, she muttered a sentence. Go, 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 go. Farewell to Jun Sheng. Because of this sentence, Jun Bieli changed his name. Before this, he wasn't called Jun Bieli, but Jun Guichen. However, because of Li Qing's sentence, he changed his name to Jun Bieli. It was because he didn't want to forget his one and only lover. A pair for life. The story was over. Junin Emperor was silent. Jun Xingyan's eyes were slightly red. She was moved by this love story. To be honest, at first, they didn't understand why Jun Bieli didn't integrate the heavenly crown into his body after obtaining it. Jun Bieli's talent was already terrifying. He didn't need the heavenly crown to become a great emperor. However, at least, integrating the heavenly crown would only bring benefits and no harm. It was a supreme baptism. They didn't understand. However, they understood now. Jun Bieli did all this for his lover, Li Qing'er. She was the old woman sealed in the celestial source. I won't beg for anyone's forgiveness. Even if I'm condemned and despised by everyone, it doesn't matter. Moreover, this is the condition for the hidden lineage to return, Jun Bieli said. His words caused Jun Xingyan's delicate body to tremble. Her beautiful eyes widened, and there was a look of disbelief in them. She recalled the jade scroll that they gave to Jun Xiaoyao in the original imperial city. There was a condition for the hidden lineage to return. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, said that he accepted that condition. Lord Son of Heaven is the condition for the hidden lineage to return. Jun Xingyan was shocked. That's right. The condition for the hidden lineage to return is for me to obtain the heavenly crown. It's this impossible condition, and Jun Xiaoyao completed it. Jun Bieli's eyes were deep and filled with emotion. Even he did not expect that Jun Xiaoyao would actually be able to fulfill that condition, which was so harsh that it was almost impossible to accomplish. However, the problem was, did Jun Xiaoyao really use his life as the prize for the hidden lineage to return? Chapter 895. Previously, in the original imperial city, Jun Xingyan and Junin Wang had given Jun Xiaoyao a jade scroll. According to the jade scroll, the condition for the hidden lineage to return was for Jun Bieli to obtain the heavenly Dao crown. This was also why Jun Xiaoyao had said that this condition was so difficult that it was almost impossible to fulfill. However, Jun Xiaoyao had fulfilled it. However, the price he had to pay was his life. So, Lord Son of Heaven, you don't have any enmity towards Lord Son of God? Jun Xingyan asked. Of course. To be honest, I'm also very moved by this rising star. Jun Bieli sighed. Jun Xiaoyao's monstrous talent was even stronger than some of the young thearchs that he had seen before. Then, Lord Son of Heaven, do you think that Lord Son of God has really fallen? Jun Xingyan asked expectantly. I can't be sure about this. However, since he has done so, it proves that this is his choice. Jun Bieli shook his head. He also found it hard to imagine how Jun Xiaoyao had managed to fool the heavens. Even if it was just a remnant soul, the heavens would not send down the heavenly Dao crown if they detected it. Jun Xingyan's eyes dimmed. However, there was still a glimmer of hope in her heart. What if? Following this, Jun Bieli was a little nervous. He fused the heavenly Dao crown into Li Qing'er's body. This old woman who was on the verge of death. She started to regain her youth at a shocking speed. Her wrinkled skin became white and tender. His pale silver hair had turned into soft black hair. The heavenly Dao crown had unparalleled power. It could completely change a person's life structure. Their talent and potential would skyrocket, and they would have the potential to become a arch. In the end, Li Qing'er woke up. She returned to being a young lady in her 20s. When she saw Jun Bieli in front of her, her eyes became blurry with tears. Is this a dream? Li Qing'er couldn't believe it. I've done what I promised you. Jun Bieli smiled. This pair of lovers was finally complete. However, after knowing what Jun Bieli had done, Li Qing'er blamed herself. She didn't want to see Jun Bieli do such a thing for her. Don't worry. If Jun Xiaoyao really doesn't die, then I will willingly submit to him in the future to repay his kindness. If he has truly fallen, then I will be his slave after reincarnation. Jun Bieli had already reached his limit. He was willing to let the hidden lineage return to the main lineage, and was even more willing to submit to Jun Xiaoyao. In Junin Emperor's eyes, this was unbelievable. "Emperor, why are you doing this?" Emperor Junin asked. "Jun Xiaoyao is indebted to Qing, which means that he is indebted to me. Just the return of the hidden lineage isn't enough to make up for this debt," Jun Bieli said calmly. "A person who is deeply in love. He must be a person who clearly distinguished between gratitude and grudges." Jun Bieli was such a person. In order to save the person he loved, he was willing to endure the condemnation and disdain of the masses. He could also do his best to repay Jun Xiaoyao's kindness. The entire Nine Heavens immortal realm was in an uproar. Everyone was waiting to see if the Jun clan was going to have an internal conflict. The factions with the most anticipation were none other than the Xian Ting's Fuxi immortal lineage and the others. After all, they were more than happy to see the Jun clan having an internal conflict. However, the truth was not out of everyone's expectations. A few boundary monarchs of the Jun clan were on the move. A group of progenitors followed them too. The Immortal Realm factions were astounded. Only the Jun clan was able to summon a few boundary monarchs at will. As for those above the martial monarch realm, it was rare to see them. As a matter of fact, the crowd could even sense a faint immortal presence. Some of the authorities were astounded. Did the Jun clan use a pseudo-immortal weapon? While the crowd was waiting for the internal conflict of the Jun clan to break out, a shocking piece of news spread across the Nine Heavens immortal realm as if it had grown wings. The Jun clan's hidden lineage was willing to return to the main lineage. Bang! The news was like a sudden clap of thunder. It immediately caused an uproar in the Nine Heavens immortal realm. Everyone knew the reason why the Jun clan was not full of themselves. The division of the hidden lineage had severely damaged the Jun clan's strength, causing them to lose part of their resources. However, the hidden lineage of the Jun clan had returned at this crucial moment, shocking all the Immortal Realm factions. The 18th ancestor in the Jun clan's team said with a trembling voice, "It's Xiaoyao. He has fulfilled his promise and allowed the hidden lineage to return." The progenitors finally came to a realization. Could it be that Jun Xiaoyao had set up a trap for the hidden lineage to return? Wasn't that a bit too cunning? That being said, sacrificing one's life was a bit too much. However, it did give the 18th ancestor and the others some hope. There was a slight chance that Jun Xiaoyao was still alive. That being said, it was only a beautiful hope for the crowd. Following this, the Jun clan's team continued to move toward their target. Their target was not the hidden lineage to begin with. It was the Fuxi immortal lineage. The reason being that Gu Tizi was the #1 target against Jun Xiaoyao. None of the factions expected the Jun clan to go straight to the Fuxi immortal lineage. They even brought out their immortal weapon, the Calamity Immortal Axe. A immortal weapon was second only to an immortal weapon. It was much stronger than an imperial weapon. The Jun clan, on the other hand, brought the Calamity Immortal Axe to their face. Damn it, is the Jun clan crazy? A powerhouse in the Fuxi immortal lineage shouted angrily. The Jun clan still dared to make such a move when the enemy of the foreign realm was right in front of them. Let the culprit come out and kneel to apologize. A progenitor of the Jun clan shouted. They did not expect the Fuxi immortal lineage to execute Gu Tizi directly. That would be too much. However, they could at least kneel. Don't be so presumptuous. A boundary emperor from the Fuxi immortal lineage could not hold it in any longer. At the same time, an ancient stone tablet with a terrifying aura and surging dragon chi appeared in the void. It was the immortal weapon, the Fuxi dragon tablet. Then come and try, the 7th forefather of the Jun clan, Jun Thi, who is also the old man who once fished for the ancient star-devourer beast, shouted coldly. Both sides, let's both take a step back. The enemy is right in front of us. It is indeed not the time for a civil war. Many immortal factions came to mediate. The Empress was immortal lineage, and other factions also came. In the end, Gu Tizi was forced to kneel in front of countless people and apologize to Jun Xiaoyao. I was wrong. I am a sinner. I shouldn't have plotted against the hero of the immortal domain, Jun Xiaoyao. Gu Tizi gritted his teeth and spat out the words one by one. After saying that, Gu Tizi's chest shook and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it! This Jun Xiaoyao is going to piss me off even if he's dead. Gu Tizi's lungs were about to explode from anger. Damn it! How could a dead person force him to kneel? He was so angry that his Dao heart was unstable. Gu Tizi had inherited the legacy of the 10 princes of Jinwu and became the new representative of the word tragic. Of course, except for the Fushi immortal lineage. The ancient Void Dragon clan, where Long Yao was from. The Ascendant Jin dynasty, where the Ascendant King was from. The Jun clan had visited all of them. Without exception, all of them admitted defeat and apologized. After all, in the future, the hidden branch of the Jun clan would completely merge with the main branch. When that time came, not many forces would dare to provoke the Jun clan. As for the immortal sect, where Ji Daoi was from, because of the news of Ji Daoi's death, the Jun clan didn't bother to visit them. So far, the Jun clan had beaten the other forces and once again showed the supreme authority of the Jun clan. Of course, all of this was due to Jun Xiaoyao's contribution. After all, the hidden branch returned because of him. It could be said that Jun Xiaoyao was the #1 contributor to the merging of the 2 branches of the Jun clan and returning to their peak. He had an indelible contribution. However, there were also many hostile forces that were secretly mocking them. Jun Xiaoyao was dead. What was the use of beating the other forces now? Chapter 896. While the entire 9 Heavens immortal realm was in chaos because of Jun Xiaoyao's death, somewhere in the void, there was a cloud of blood mist mixed with broken bones. An ancient talisman was in it. A faint primordial spirit light slowly lit up in the ancient talisman, as weak as a firefly. Vaguely, there was a vague consciousness fluctuation. This time, it seems that I've gone too far. This weak consciousness fluctuation belonged to Jun Xiaoyao. And this ancient talisman was the life-saving item of the ancient Chaos Emperor, the ancient Chaos Emperor talisman. Once, Jun Xiaoyao destroyed Wang Teng's primordial spirit, and Wang Teng was able to recover with half of the ancient Chaos Emperor talisman. Not to mention that Jun Xiaoyao now had the complete ancient Chaos Emperor talisman. Of course, this was not the only reason Jun Xiaoyao could deceive the world. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit was indeed destroyed by Jun Bieli in the world of the ruins of God. But don't forget that Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit was the primordial spirit of 3 lives. He had a bit of primordial spirit hidden in the past. It was the primordial spirit of the past. Jun Xiaoyao's past, on the other hand, was completely blank, because other than the sacred body of the ancients and the bones of supremacy, there was also the first physique among the 3,000 physiques. A fateless person. This was a physique that Jun Xiaoyao himself was not very clear about. Jun Xiaoyao only thought that he was a transmigrator who was not tainted by karma and did not fall into the cycle of reincarnation. Goddess of Eternal Calamity was also shocked that Jun Xiaoyao did not seem to exist in this world. A fateless person jumped out of the 3 realms and was not in the 5 elements. There was no fate, no karma. It was difficult for anyone to investigate his past. Therefore, this was also the reason why Jun Xiaoyao was able to deceive the heavens. Even the heavens could not speculate about a person who did not exist. And Jun Xiaoyao took advantage of this loophole of being a transmigrator who was not tainted by karma. He deceived the heavens. Therefore, in this game with the heavens, Jun Xiaoyao actually won. On the contrary, the heavens were the ones who were fooled. They even gave him the heavenly crown for nothing. Jun Xiaoyao even used this game to negotiate with Jun Bieli. He successfully let the hidden lineage return to the main lineage. He also indirectly took the Tree of World and became the hero of the immortal realm. It could be said that Jun Xiaoyao had truly set up a trap in the atmosphere that time, tricking everyone. Even the ancestors of the ancestors were deceived by Jun Xiaoyao. If Jun Xiaoyao showed up in the 9 Heavens immortal realm again, he would surely reveal the truth. Then, How dumbfounded would the people of the immortal realms be? Even the heavens would be angry. After all, no one had ever been able to toy with the heavens in such a manner. But June did June Bieli. Even though it feels good to have fooled the heavens, the price to pay isn't small. Jun Xiaoyao's consciousness was weak, and he felt rather helpless. Not only was his physical body almost destroyed, but even his supremacy bone was cracked. That Jun Bieli really didn't go easy on me, Jun Xiaoyao sighed. He naturally lost to Jun Bieli on purpose. Otherwise, as long as Jun Xiaoyao was unwilling, even if he was suppressing the evil thoughts of the gods, Jun Bieli would not be able to defeat him completely. That was exactly what Jun Xiaoyao was capable of. As for sacrificing himself to protect the immortal realm, that was even more nonsense. Jun Xiaoyao would not sacrifice himself for the people of the immortal realm. He was not such a person. At most, he would protect his loved ones around him. That would be good enough. If Jun Xiaoyao knew that all the people of the immortal realm were worshipping him and seeing him as the hero who saved the immortal realm, if that were to happen, Jun Xiaoyao would definitely find it ridiculous. He really did not want to be a hero. However, although Jun Xiaoyao paid a huge price this time, the gains were also huge. At least he got the Tree of World. This thing was enough to make up for all his losses. At this moment, a mechanical voice suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have reached the end of the ancient road of ultimate. Do you want to sign in? System, are you playing with me? Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. It actually dragged on until now to sign in. However, he was also looking forward to what good things he could get this time. After all, Jun Xiaoyao's situation was indeed not good right now. He needed to sign in for something good. Sign in. Jun Xiaoyao spread out his consciousness. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have signed in at the end of the ancient road of ultimate. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the reward of critical luck. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the reward of 10 consecutive sign-ins. Hearing the system's beautiful voice, Jun Xiaoyao's consciousness flashed. This is 10 consecutive draws. Is it so good? Jun Xiaoyao was surprised. The system was rare for it to be generous. But thinking about it, the ancient road of ultimate was indeed very long. It was normal to receive the reward of critical luck. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 7-star reward, Sky Stealing Change. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 7-star reward, Dao Heart Demonic Seed Art. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 7-star reward, Myriad Earth. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 8-star reward, Origin of Dao. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 8-star reward, Quasi-Emperor Weapon, Daluo Sword Embryo, can be evolved. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 7-star reward, Heaven Cleaving Art. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 7-star reward, 9 Immortal Life Reversing Pill. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 8-star reward, 3 Lives Elixir. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 9-star reward, Seed of Faith. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have received the 10-star reward, Heavenly Black Blood. A series of notifications and check-in rewards made Jun Xiaoyao feel like he was having a hard time taking in everything. Happiness came too suddenly. 10 consecutive draws. The lowest reward was 7-star. There were quite a few 8-star rewards. There were even 9-star and 10-star rewards. These were top-tier rewards that Jun Xiaoyao had never received before. This time, I'm really going to soar. Jun Xiaoyao's consciousness fluctuated. Although his current condition wasn't too good, Jun Xiaoyao was confident that with these rewards, he would be able to recover quickly and become stronger than before. Not to mention, Jun Xiaoyao had also received the World Tree. If this World Tree was converted into rewards, it would definitely be a 10-star reward. With so many treasures, it would be difficult for Jun Xiaoyao not to soar even if he didn't want to. I wonder what will happen when I return to the Immortal Realm? Jun Xiaoyao was inexplicably curious. But now, he was drifting in eternal chaos and nothingness. Jun Xiaoyao also didn't know where he would end up. Naturally, the people of the immortal realm didn't know about Jun Xiaoyao's situation. After the Jun family had beaten up the various forces, the entire immortal realm fell into a temporary silence. On the Jun family side, the main and hidden branches were about to merge. It was obvious that the Jun family's strength would skyrocket. They might even regain their former glory. That being said, the Xianting was not idle either. The immortal lineage of the Empress of Hua and the immortal lineage of the Fuxi immortal lineage were the leaders. The 9 immortal lineages were reorganizing into the supreme Xianting to oppose the Jun family. That being said, it was not something that could be done in a short period of time. The foreign realm was restless too. They had started to harass the immortal lineage at the border. It was obvious that the foreign realm had no choice but to think of a way to break through the border after their plan in the world of godly ruins failed. It felt like the whole era was about to enter a turbulent period. The curtains of a great era had begun, not long after the world of godly ruins. A shocking piece of news spread across the 9 heavens immortal realm. The 9 heavens immortal institute was about to open. Chapter 897. In the 9 heavens immortal realm, apart from the clans of the clan of the ancients, the Jin dynasty, and the top sacred grounds and factions, there were also many institutes and academies. These institutes and academies had a strong foundation and a long history. Many of them were comparable to the immortal factions. For example, Jun Xiaoyao was the saint of the Holy Spirit College in the Huangtian immortal realm. The other immortal realms had their own institutes too. The Beast Institute of the Beast Race. The Ancient Emperor Institute of the Archean royalty was quite famous too. However, it was nothing compared to the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute. The 9 Heavens Immortal Institute was the highest institute in the 9 Heavens Immortal realm. It was a sacred ground with the best resources and successions. This academy was the academy that all the younger generation of the immortal realms yearned for even in their dreams. Besides, the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute was open to all. Anyone with enough strength, talent, and willingness to fight for the immortal realm would have a chance to join the institute. Fourth Master Scar once mentioned that those who contributed greatly in the world of godly ruins were qualified to receive an immortal level fortune. The immortal level fortune was located in the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute. The 9 Heavens Immortal Institute would only open once every era. The 9 Heavens Immortal Institute would only open during the most chaotic era when the immortal realm was in danger. It was meant to nurture the true elites and pillars of the immortal realm. The geniuses who participated in the world battle of the godly ruins had a chance to join the institute. The outlawed geniuses even had a chance to be baptized by the immortal level fortune. That being said, many people were not convinced. Why did Gutizi and the others have the right to join the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute and receive the immortal level fortune? Many young cultivators in the immortal realm started a wave of resistance against Gutizi. The true hero of the immortal realm, Jun Xiaoyao, had fallen from grace, while a lowly person like Gutizi could receive the immortal level fortune. In other words, Gutizi and the Fuxi immortal faction had a bad reputation in the immortal realm. That being said, Gutizi and the others could still enter the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute in the end. After all, the authority of the Xianting was unshakable. A year after the 9 Heavens Immortal Institute, another major event was also beginning to affect the situation in the celestial realm. The seeds that had been dormant in history began to sprout and awaken. Jun Bieli was the first, but he would never be the last. The fall of Jun Xiaoyao seemed to have ignited the fuse of this golden age. When you're done singing, I'll take the stage. Jun Xiaoyao's downfall signaled the struggle for hegemony and the rise of the stars. In a certain abyss whirlpool, there was surging demonic chi that shook in all directions, causing heaven and earth to tremble in fear. The might of a supreme being swept out in all directions. A young paragon with demonic chi, like a demonic god, had awakened from the abyss. How many years has it been? This golden era is finally here. This was a man whose entire body was wreathed in demonic flames. Greetings, Lord Yama. Experts from the Nether King bloodline cupped their fists in greeting. The seed of the Nether King bloodline, the Holy Yama, had appeared. In another ancient land, there was an ancient monument that towered into the sky. There seemed to be countless inscriptions engraved on it. Around him, there were many followers of the truth sect of the Gulen Holy Church. Rumble. The entire ancient monument of truth began to tremble. All kinds of divine chains of order and truth words were imprinted in the void. The earth cracked open, and a divine radiance shot out. A figure wrapped in boundless holy light, and the light of truth slowly stepped out. The dusk of the gods is about to descend, and a new era is about to begin. The supreme true God said that the more calamitous the world is, the more it needs the truth and faith. Believe in the Gulen Holy Church, and you can obtain eternal life. This voice was incomparably mighty, and it spread throughout heaven and earth. Pursue the child of truth, and follow the true God's glory. Countless experts and followers of the Gulen Holy Church were worshipping. The seed of the Gulen Holy Church, the child of truth, had appeared. In the Dragon King Palace, in a dragon skeleton hill, monstrous dragon chi surged, and a golden dragon king spear pierced through the void. A majestic figure began to awaken, shaking the earth for billions of miles. The seed of the Dragon King Palace, Xian Haoqiong, had awakened. As time passed, the seeds began to awaken one after another. The immortal region had officially entered the era of blooming flowers. Those seeds buried in the earth had begun to awaken one after another. One by one, the young seed-level supremes surged with vitality, shaking the heavens. Every one of them was a legend of certain era. This was an era where heroes vied for supremacy. The young supremes were full of hot blood. The peerless geniuses stunned the world. From time to time, a prodigy who had been sleeping for an unknown period of time would rush out from a certain corner. It was like a true dragon that had awakened and was about to rise in this era. It could be said that all the prodigies wanted to compete for this era's destiny. Of course, not all seeds would sprout at the same time. For example, some of the true descendants of the ancient emperors in the Archean royalty. For example, the descendants of those hidden ancient factions that were not famous in the immortal region. For example, the terrifying chaos body that was sleeping in the depths of the door of chaos. For example, in the ancient land of Xianting, there was an ancient young emperor that was sleeping. In short, the curtain of prosperity had been pulled open. Characters had already begun to appear on stage. It depended on who could stand on the stage for the longest. This was the best era and also the worst era. Jun Xiaoyao had fallen, and the stars had risen. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. 3 years was not considered long. For cultivators, a short period of seclusion might take more than 3 years. However, these 3 years were enough for everyone to gradually forget a name that had once been glorious. Jun Xiaoyao. Although the Jun family was still powerful and was still the most prosperous ancient family in the immortal region that could not be provoked. However, without Jun Xiaoyao, it felt like something was missing. Although Jun Bieli was equally stunning, he was also in existence with boundless glory among the young supremes. However, compared to Jun Xiaoyao, something seemed to be missing. There was no inner meaning. During these 3 years, many things had happened. The wars between the foreign realm and the immortal region in the desolate border became more and more frequent, and the casualties also increased. The friction between the two realms began to heat up. The true war was not far from starting. There was also Jun Xiaoyao's former mount, Princess Longji, who had obtained the inheritance of the nine-finger sage Dragon Emperor. She had fought with Jun Bieli before. In the end, she still failed. In addition, the behemoth business alliance of 10,000 clans had been completely annexed by the Emperor Imperial Court. The Naga tribe on the ancient Final Road, the desolate ancient Sacred Palace, and other forces. They were also merged with the Emperor Imperial Court under the leadership of Queen Medusa and the last Sacred Body Martial Protector. In an instant, the Emperor Imperial Court the force that was created by Jun Xiaoyao. He was already much, much stronger than he was in the past. It could be said that apart from its foundation, in any other aspect, the Emperor Imperial Court was not weaker than those immortal forces that have been passed down for thousands of generations. Unfortunately, this behemoth had lost the master of the Emperor Imperial Court. Everyone in the Emperor Imperial Court was praying all the time. Their master of the Emperor Imperial Court had returned, just as the Nine Heavens immortal realm was surging. Jun Xiaoyao, who had been forgotten by many people. After 3 years of drifting in the void abyss, he was sucked into a dimensional rift. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit once again felt the aura of the laws of heaven and earth. However, that aura left Jun Xiaoyao slightly dumbfounded. This isn't the law of heaven and earth of the Nine Heavens immortal realm. Chapter 898. It was a land of death. The world was dark and gloomy. A pitch-black mist surrounded the place all year round. It was difficult for the light in the sky to shine down. Everything was dark and gloomy as far as the eye could see. There were all kinds of incomplete remains, ancient coffins, and collapsed tombs. There were also all kinds of dangerous killing formations and corrosive swamps. There were wisps of dark matter surging in the void. There were also all kinds of contaminated divine chains of order appearing in the space from time to time like hinges. It was an eternal land of death. It was more like an ancient forbidden land. At that moment, thunder suddenly rumbled in the void. An enormous crack appeared, and the sound of lightning and thunder surged, exploding like a sudden clap of thunder on flat ground. The sound echoed in the surrounding land. A few thousand li away, some living beings were staring at the forbidden land in astonishment. Is something happening in the heavenly tomb again? Could it be that another sleeping taboo character is about to awaken? Don't talk too much. Be careful not to provoke bad karma. Some of the living beings whispered with respect and fear in their eyes. Where is this? It has a completely different set of rules from the Nine Heavens immortal realm. A cloud of blood mist and broken bones fell from the crack in the void into a dark valley in this area. An ancient talisman was floating in it, emitting a faint monarch aura. It was the ancient Chaos Monarch Talisman. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit was fluctuating among it. He was curious about this place. However, before that, he had to investigate the situation in the inner universe. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit sank into the inner universe. As far as the eye could see, the entire innerverse was riddled with holes. It was like a hornet's nest. It was easy to imagine how much damage the evil intent of the god had caused to Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe when it was sealed inside. Luckily, it had been suppressed and sealed for many years. The evil intent of the god had finally been suppressed deep inside the inner universe by the soul of the Azure Monarch. It's a blessing in disguise. The evil intent of the god has caused great damage to my inner universe. But there can be no construction without destruction. As long as the world tree exists, my inner universe will take a big step forward. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself, not only the inner universe, but also his body. His physical body seemed to be shattered, and even his supremacy bones were cracked. But there could be no construction without destruction. After the complete transformation, Jun Xiaoyao would only be stronger. I didn't expect you to succeed. The image of the Azure Monarch appeared again, his voice elegant and clear. It's all thanks to your efforts. All I did was provide a place. Jun Xiaoyao said, you don't have to be humble. You might really be able to complete my dying wish and create an immortal realm. Also, do you know what else you have? The Azure the Arch asked. Although he knew that he was a transmigrator, no one had ever mentioned fateless ones before. Jun Xiaoyao thought that he was able to fool the heavens because he was a transmigrator. He didn't expect the term fateless to exist. Fate is king among the 3,000 constitutions. The Azure Monarch's tone was solemn. To be able to make a mythical emperor speak in such a solemn tone, it was clear that fateless people were taboo existences. Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect it either. He thought that having the sacred body of the ancients and the supremacy bones was already heaven-defying. It turned out that he had 3 great constitutions. As for fateless ones, they ranked first among the 3,000 constitutions. Everything in the world has its own trajectory, but you are an existence that has jumped out of the river of fate. No one can find out your karma, not even the heavens. That was why Jun Xiaoyao could deceive the heavens. Senior, has there ever been a fateless person like me? Jun Xiaoyao asked. He was a little curious about this. If even the Azure Monarch, with his vision and experience, didn't know, then no one would know. The Azure Monarch paused and said, "Fateless people are too heaven-defying. Since ancient times, almost no one has ever found them. Many people even think that this kind of constitution doesn't exist in the first place. It's just a figment of people's imagination. However, I once found a trace of it in ancient history scrolls." Jun Xiaoyao was shocked when he heard this. There were other fateless people? I don't know his name, his origin, or even if he really existed. I only know that he had a code name, Fortune Teller. Fortune Teller? Jun Xiaoyao frowned. He couldn't help but think of the blind fortune teller who adopted him in his previous life. He said that he would definitely reach the peak of life in this life. The result was indeed so. Forget it. You shouldn't be thinking about that now. You should be thinking about how to survive in the foreign realm, the Azure Monarch said faintly. So, this is the foreign realm. Jun Xiaoyao understood. No wonder the laws of heaven and earth were completely different from those of the 9 heavens immortal realm. Jun Xiaoyao thought that he had entered some forbidden land. He didn't expect to come to the foreign realm. The evil thoughts of the gods have been sealed. I see that your physical body has been destroyed and won't be able to recover in a short time. The 33rd grade chaotic green lotus that I left behind can help you rebuild your body and have the power comparable to the chaotic constitution. Emperor Qing's words made even someone like Jun Xiaoyao, who did not show his emotions on his face, feel a little happy. The 33rd grade chaotic green lotus was a heaven-defying creation. It was definitely comparable to the top 10-star reward. Not to mention that after the reconstruction, Jun Xiaoyao would have the power of the chaotic constitution. Although the Azure Monarch didn't have the chaotic constitution, his original form was a green lotus in the chaos. Therefore, the Azure Monarch had the same elemental ability as the chaotic constitution. And now, Jun Xiaoyao could also have the same heaven-defying constitution as the Azure Monarch. If he superimposed the sacred body of the ancients and the transformed bones of supremacy. Jun Xiaoyao's talent and strength couldn't be described by words like monster, anomaly, or monster. After all, think about it. Jun Xiaoyao was a fateless one, the sacred body of the ancients, the bones of supremacy, and the chaotic constitution. It was no longer a question of whether he was heaven-defying or not. Jun Xiaoyao was simply beyond the scope of ordinary people's understanding. "Thank you for the gift, Senior," Jun Xiaoyao said gratefully. "You don't have to. Consider this a reward for helping me solve the evil thoughts of the gods." A faint smile appeared on the Azure Monarch's lips. A smile that stunned all eternity. Rumble. The remaining energy of the Azure Monarch surged into the 33rd grade chaotic green lotus. The Chaos Green Lotus exuded a pure chaos chi, and various chaos Tao laws appeared. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao remembered again. He didn't seem to have carefully checked the reward for his 10 consecutive check-ins. Maybe he could use the reward to transform into an invincible treasure body. Chapter 899. Jun Xiaoyao began to check the rewards of the 10 consecutive draws. Jun Xiaoyao also thought of something else. This was the foreign realm. Even if Jun Xiaoyao had reconstructed the sacred body of the ancients, it would still be difficult for him to do anything in the foreign realm. Anyone with a bit of insight would be able to tell Jun Xiaoyao's identity at a glance. That wouldn't do. Jun Xiaoyao also felt that since he was already here, he might as well take things as they came. He did have some things that he needed to take care of in the foreign realm. For example, he could investigate all kinds of important information in the foreign realm. Or, the Book of Souls, one of the 9 great heavenly books, might be in the hands of Qi Hongyu of the Qi Shao bloodline. Also, he had to find out the whereabouts of his father, Jun Wuhui, and whether or not he was in the foreign realm. Also, the ghost-masked woman might have some kind of karma with the Nirvana tribe in the foreign realm. He needed to investigate. Thinking of this, Jun Xiaoyao thought of Xianyu again. Although he didn't have a good impression of Xianyu, Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect Xianyu to stand in front of him at the last moment. Jun Xiaoyao didn't sense Xianyu's movements nearby. Obviously, she might have been separated from Jun Xiaoyao in the void turbulence. She might have even died. In short, there were many things that Jun Xiaoyao needed to investigate in the foreign realm. This time, he was stranded in the foreign realm, which would allow Jun Xiaoyao to carry out his next plan. Since I've decided to investigate in the foreign realm, the sacred body of the ancients won't be able to make me move, Jun Xiaoyao thought. He began to think of a way. In the foreign realm, Jun Xiaoyao's identity would not bring him any convenience. Instead, it would bring fatal danger. Logically speaking, Jun Xiaoyao should start to keep a low profile. However, Jun Xiaoyao didn't want to keep a low profile. Right, the chaotic green lotus can give me the chaotic physique. If that's the case, Jun Xiaoyao thought, there was an unparalleled, chaotic physique in the foreign realm. This should be a good thing, right? It was very exciting just thinking about it. With a preliminary idea in mind, Jun Xiaoyao began to explore the rewards for the 10 consecutive draws. These could help him recover quickly. The sky-stealing sun-swapping technique can conceal one's aura and block detection. It's so powerful that it can even conceal and change karma. Jun Xiaoyao was baffled by the first reward he received. This was like giving him a pillow when he was about to doze off. Stealing the sky and changing the sun technique, as the name implied, stole the sky and changed the sun, deceiving everyone. Although it couldn't increase his combat strength, it was what Jun Xiaoyao needed the most right now. With the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique, it will be difficult for others to find out my origins. Jun Xiaoyao felt that this cultivation technique was very practical. Next was the Dao Heart Demonic Seed Art. Jun Xiaoyao was even more surprised after checking. The Dao Heart Demonic Seed Art was a method to control others. Simply put, it was after Jun Xiaoyao cultivated the Dao Heart Demonic Seed Art. He could teach this cultivation technique to any other living being. Furthermore, Jun Xiaoyao was able to transfer his talents to others at will through the chant of the Taoist Heart Demonic Seed. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao's own talent wouldn't decrease, and he could control how much talent he passed on to others. After others cultivated it, a demonic seed would be born in their bodies. Moreover, they could continue to pass on the Dao Heart Demonic Seed Art to others and obtain their cultivation talent, cultivation results, and so on. If this continued, 1 would spread to 10, and 10 would spread to 100. Moreover, everyone who cultivated this cultivation technique would be under Jun Xiaoyao's control. Jun Xiaoyao could make the demonic seed in others' bodies explode with just a thought, causing them to die. This is too heaven-defying, isn't it? Jun Xiaoyao was surprised. This was simply the best way to recruit slaves. Could it be that the system knew that he liked this? No, this was no longer about recruiting slaves. If it really spread, Jun Xiaoyao might be able to preach. A new idea began to form in Jun Xiaoyao's mind. But he wasn't in a hurry. Jun Xiaoyao continued to explore the next system reward. 7-star reward, all creation soil. This was also an extremely precious resource. Even some immortal herbs could be planted on all creation soil. I can use this all creation soil to cultivate the tree of world, Jun Xiaoyao thought. After that was the 8-star reward, the origin of Tao. This made Jun Xiaoyao a little more serious. The origin of Tao could be said to be the essence of the Tao between heaven and earth. It could be said that if a mortal obtained the origin of Tao, he would immediately transform into a peerless genius of enlightenment and could even control the great path between heaven and earth. But this wasn't the most important thing for Jun Xiaoyao, because with his comprehension ability, he didn't need the origin of Tao at all. But, to a certain extent, the origin of Tao could be seen as a simplified version of the innate Taoist embryo. If I integrate the origin of Tao into the sacred body of the ancients, Jun Xiaoyao thought of this. Would it transform into an innate Taoist embryo? Even if it couldn't transform into a complete one, would it be possible to transform into a quasi-innate Taoist embryo? Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit fluctuated. Even if it was just a quasi-innate Taoist embryo, it was still stronger than a pure sacred body of the ancients. It's really about to take off. Jun Xiaoyao thought that his harvest this time was too great. Next, Jun Xiaoyao continued to investigate. The 8-star reward, the quasi-emperor weapon, the Daluo sword embryo. There was nothing to say. The reason why the Daluo sword embryo could reach 8 stars was that it had the possibility of transforming into a quasi-immortal artifact or even an immortal artifact in the future. The Great Desolation halberd was shattered in the previous battle, so Jun Xiaoyao just happened to lack a suitable weapon. Moreover, if he used the Daluo sword embryo, he wouldn't be recognized by the people of the foreign realm. The 7-star reward, the heaven-cleaving spell, was nothing to say. It was one of the 5 great divine techniques. Jun Xiaoyao had collected 4 of the 5 great divine techniques. The Immortal Slayer's sword technique, the Primitive Emperor Dao sword technique, the Grass Symbol sword technique, and the Heaven-cleaving spell. Only the Immortal Tribulation sword technique was left. However, Ling Yin knew the Immortal Tribulation sword art. Jun Xiaoyao planned to ask Ling Yin for this sword art when he returned to the Immortal Realm. Jun Xiaoyao was still looking forward to what kind of miraculous changes would occur after cultivating the 5 great divine techniques at the same time. Would it transform into a peerless sword art? Then there was the 7-star reward, the 9 immortal life reversing pill, and the 8-star reward, the elixir of 3 lives. Needless to say, Jun Xiaoyao would fuse these 2 into his body to restore it. Originally, Jun Xiaoyao's body was shattered, and it would take a long time to recover. However, if he fused the 9 immortal life reversing pill and the elixir of 3 lives, the time would be greatly shortened. Especially the elixir of 3 lives, which was an elixir of immortality that could transform 3 lives. Its medicinal effect was more than 10 times that of an ordinary elixir of immortality. This was a little terrifying. It could be said that this was a treasure that was priceless and couldn't be exchanged. Finally, there were the 2 most important things. The 9-star reward, the Seed of Faith. The 10-star reward, the Heavenly Black Blood. Jun Xiaoyao was also a little serious. After all, this level of reward was already the most precious. Jun Xiaoyao was very curious about what it was used for. First was the Seed of Faith. After Jun Xiaoyao investigated it, he obtained information. This Seed of Faith needed to be watered with the power of faith before it could sprout. As for what it would transform into in the end, Jun Xiaoyao wasn't too sure. However, the power of faith was too difficult to collect. It wasn't some kind of immortal resource or treasure. If he wanted to search for it, he could just find it directly. The power of faith was not something that could be obtained just by looking for it. If it was in the immortal realm, with Jun Xiaoyao's influence, he might really be able to collect a bit of the power of faith. But the problem was that Jun Xiaoyao was now in a foreign realm. In this place, who would believe in him? The power of faith. If that's the case, Jun Xiaoyao's mind suddenly flashed with inspiration. He had come up with a brilliant plan. Chapter 900. Isn't the Tao Heart demonic seed art the best way to preach? Jun Xiaoyao thought. Using the Tao Heart demonic seed art to fool some foreign creatures and then spread it. Then he would say that it was a gift from an ancient god or something. Wouldn't the power of faith still surge over? As for fooling, with Jun Xiaoyao's black-bellied personality and deep scheming, would he be afraid that he wouldn't be able to fool people? Even the heavens were fooled by Jun Xiaoyao. There was even less of a need to mention those foreign creatures. The only thing he needed to pay attention to was that he couldn't provoke those high-level experts for the time being. If he was discovered by an immortal king, that wouldn't be good. This method was indeed feasible. Jun Xiaoyao was already thinking of a plan. Finally, there was the 10-star reward, the Heavenly Black Blood. According to the system's prompt, this was a drop of black blood that fell from the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao could fuse the black blood into his body and activate the dark mode. His condition in all aspects would improve, and his strength would increase exponentially. Of course, it was also possible that he would fall into madness and be consigned to eternal damnation, never to recover. However, this was only one of the uses of the heavenly black blood. As for the other secrets, Jun Xiaoyao still needed to explore them himself. This thing seems to be related to the dark matter of the foreign world. Could it be one of the sources? And above the heavens, what is it? Where is it? Who does this drop of black blood belong to? Jun Xiaoyao had more doubts in his heart. However, since it was a reward from the system, it shouldn't be a big problem if he was careful. Moreover, with this drop of black blood, Jun Xiaoyao could perfectly integrate into the foreign world. This was because there was more or less a little dark matter in the bodies of foreign creatures. And the heavenly black blood was the source of the dark matter. Strictly speaking, Jun Xiaoyao was more like a foreign creature than a foreign creature. Next, Jun Xiaoyao began to prepare. He fused the origin of the Tao into the blood mist and shattered bones. He also threw the chaos green lotus into it. Jun Xiaoyao planned to refine two bodies at the same time. These two bodies were both his own, and there was no distinction between the primary and the secondary. In the future, they could directly fuse into one. The only difference was one of his bodies had the same chaotic physique as the Azure Arch. The other body had merged with the origin of Tao and was qualified to transform into a quasi-innate sacred being Tao fetus. Then, Jun Xiaoyao added the 9 immortal life reversing pill and the elixir of 3 lifetimes into it. Rumble. Chaotic energy surged. All kinds of chi and blood surged. That fluctuation seemed to be brewing a peerless god. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit was also recovering rapidly. The divine spirit indestructible technique in the life book could not only quickly restore the physical body, but also the primordial spirit. In Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit, there seemed to be a god sitting cross-legged and chanting. Soon, his primordial spirit turned from a weak light into a primordial spirit fire. Finally, 3 Tao flowers appeared, with the primordial spirits of the past and the primordial spirits of the present sitting on them. At the same time, Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was also undergoing a crazy metamorphosis. Jun Xiaoyao placed the all-creation soil under the Tree of World. With the support of the Tree of World's majestic power of the world, Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was also crazily expanding. It was only natural that Jun Xiaoyao's powers grew as well. Also, a sun and a moon appeared in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. They were formed by the convergence of solar saint power and lunar saint power. From then on, yin and yang rotated in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, and the sun and moon alternated. His inner universe's laws became more complete. 3 light years. For light years. 5 light years. The diameter of Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was expanding rapidly. It was getting bigger and bigger. It was getting longer and longer. Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation level was also rising. Early stage, Holy Lord. Mid-stage, Holy Lord. Late stage, Holy Lord. Small perfection, Holy Lord. Great perfection, Holy Lord. Quasi-supreme realm. His strength skyrocketed and could not be stopped at all. The impact of Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation also spread to the surroundings. The clouds of heaven and earth churned, and thunder rumbled. The place he was at was actually a forbidden area in the foreign realm. It was called the Heavenly Tomb. This was a strange tomb, and it was unknown how many people were buried here. There were many strange, ominous, and forbidden things inside. Even Supreme Being experts were not willing to easily step into it. But at the same time, there were also many rare opportunities inside. There was no lack of lowly foreign realm creatures who accidentally entered it and survived, obtaining the legacy of a forbidden expert. Or they ate a certain herb, cleansing their meridians and ascending to the top. Or they found an incomplete forbidden technique and directly soared. Therefore, as time passed, the Heavenly Tomb also became an ancient forbidden area that the surrounding foreign realm creatures respected and feared. At this moment, thousands of miles away from the Heavenly Tomb, there was a small tribe living here. This tribe was called the Black Skin Tribe. His appearance was no different from that of a human cultivator. It was just that their skin was dark, so they were called the black-skin tribe. The black-skin tribe was the lowest slave tribe in the foreign realm. The foreign realm believed in the law of the jungle. The weak were prey to the strong, and the strong were respected. Therefore, the hierarchy was extremely strict. Slave tribe, general tribe, king tribe, top king tribe, quasi-emperor tribe, and immortal emperor tribe. They were layered on top of each other like a pyramid. Among them, the lowest level slave tribe was also the tribe with the most numbers. Meanwhile, the black-skin tribe was precisely one of the slave tribes. It was rumored that this tribe's ancestors had intermarried with Immortal Domain's humans, and that was why they had a portion of Immortal Domain's human bloodline. In the foreign realm, they naturally became the lowest slave tribe. Meanwhile, at this moment, outside the black-skin tribe's village, dong, 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 several cyclopes that were about 3 zhang tall arrived here. The foreign realm general tribe, Cyclopes tribe. The general tribe was the cornerstone of the foreign realm, equivalent to ordinary residents. Their status was completely different from that of a slave tribe. Lowly black-skin tribe, the day of offering has arrived. A Cyclope spoke in a low and muffled voice, speaking coldly. Great one, didn't we just offer some offerings a while ago? Why is there another one now? A group of people from the black-skin tribe walked out. The one in the lead was the black-skin tribe's patriarch, who had heavenly deity realm strength. However, in front of the Cyclopes, it was still not enough. Are you questioning me? The Cyclopes said indifferently. This little one doesn't dare. The black-skin tribe's chief cowered. Now that the battles between our realm and immortal domain are becoming more and more frequent, the amount of resources we need to consume is naturally greater. Origin stones, medicinal herbs, metal, ores, hand them all over. The Cyclopes said coldly. You all are going too far. Suddenly, a youth's voice sounded. This was a roughly 16 or 17-year-old, his skin dark, face firm and resolute. His figure was strong and well-proportioned. He was called Tuobayu. Right now, he glared angrily at the Cyclopes. And that Cyclope's eyes released cold radiance. Little you, don't be rash. On the side, a roughly 20-year-old woman's pretty face changed, walking up to stop him. Her figure was graceful, curvaceous. Even though her wheat-colored skin was a bit rough, it also carried a type of wild temptation. She was like a sexy female leopard. She was Tuobayu's older sister, Tuobalan. Yo, not bad. Right, there are also some of your tribe's women. We need to see some as well. Use them to comfort my clan soldiers. You bastards. Tuobayu's eyes felt like they were splitting apart, opening his mouth to be irate. Chapter 901. Which youth wasn't full of hot blood? Tuobayu was like this. He was used to seeing the black skin race being bullied, always holding back a flame inside. Why was it that just because the black skin race was a slave race, they had to be bullied? Were the lives of the black skin race not lives? A brat with guts. Unfortunately, you are too stupid. The Cyclops casually waved his hand, strong winds surging outwards. Pucci. Tuobayu spat out blood, directly sent flying. Little you. Tuobalan's pretty face was pale. If you all don't submit today, then your entire black skin race will be slaughtered. In any case, you lowly slave races are like weeds that grow back again and again. The Cyclops' eyes were filled with killing intent. Agree, we agree, the black skin race patriarch said with a trembling voice. Tuobalan's eyes were completely red. She was brought away by the Cyclops. There was also a group of women who were brought away. Even the shortest Cyclops was at least 10 meters tall, making them look like small giants. One could imagine what kind of nightmare these women were going through. With the Cyclops' size, this wasn't just a simple torture. It was simply a heart-chilling experience. Big Sicilon, Tuobayu was furious, the corners of his eyes about to split open, blood flowing out. His heart felt like it was about to explode, filled with anger and pain. Sigh, child. The black skin race patriarch shook his head and sighed. If only I was strong enough. Tuobayu clenched his teeth, his eyes bloodshot, in a cruel place like the other side. Being weak was the original sin. As long as one was strong enough, identity, status, resources, women, dignity, they would all have it. I am too weak. Tuoba said in pain. Their slave race's talents were lacking to begin with. Together with the fact that they didn't have many resources, they didn't have any good cultivation methods or divine abilities. Wanting to rise up was harder than ascending to the heavens. Immortal Domain still had some schools and academies, able to teach some ordinary cultivators. However, the other side didn't have them. Even if there were, only those with talent, strength, and status could join. Their slave races didn't even have the qualifications to work as odd jobs. Right at this time, Han Long Long, another irregular scene appeared in heaven and earth. Thousands of miles away, in the heavenly tomb, lightning flashed and tribulation clouds covered the sky. What exactly is going on with the heavenly tomb? Recently, there have been frequent movements. Could it be that some unforeseen event has occurred? Some of the surrounding tribes and forces were discussing. As for Tuoba, he suddenly turned his gaze to the front. Heavenly Tomb, a strange forbidden land filled with all kinds of death legends. However, there was no lack of a small number of lucky people who were able to obtain heaven-defying fortuitous encounters. If I can get it, Tuoba's eyes flashed with unprecedented determination. Given his current situation, not to mention whether or not he had cultivation resources, he had to be careful. Even if he did, who knew how long it would take for him to cultivate it step by step? The only way was to take a gamble and go all out. If they won, they would be able to lead their entire race away from the lowly status of a slave race. If he lost, it was just a cheap life. What's the point of living like this? I might as well take a gamble. Tuoba's eyes flickered. Late at night, Tuoba left the clan alone in a flash and headed in the direction of the heavenly tomb. In the dark valley of the heavenly tomb, endless chaotic aura surged as all kinds of order, Tao, laws intertwined. It was as if a sleeping god was being nurtured. At the side, Jun Xiaoyao's slender figure appeared. It looked slightly illusory. This was the form formed by Jun Xiaoyao's essence spirit. Not bad. The harvest this time is too great. My cultivation has already risen to the quasi-supreme stage, Jun Xiaoyao muttered. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao was not even 30 years old. He had stepped into the quasi-supreme stage at such a young age. He was simply the only one in history. One could not find a single one in history. Even those seed-level paragons and young paragons were at least hundreds or thousands of years old. There were even some who were a few thousand years old. It was just that compared to the lifespan of cultivators, they were very young. However, Jun Xiaoyao was really young. It was not just relative. Even if he was 100 years old, Jun Xiaoyao was still very young. And this is not the limit. With the expansion of the Innerverse, I don't even need to deliberately cultivate and my realm will rise. Jun Xiaoyao sighed. He was shocked by his own talent. He did not need to cultivate and was stronger than other people who cultivated hard even when lying down. He was so monstrous, and my Innerverse has finally transformed into a microscopic world. Jun Xiaoyao noticed another point. Previously, after the Lotus Emperor's advice, Jun Xiaoyao also understood that the Innerverse was also divided into levels. Microscopic world, minor kiliocosm, medium kiliocosm, greater kiliocosm, single universe, multiverse, and so on. Previously, Jun Xiaoyao's Innerverse could not even be considered a microscopic world. It could only be considered an inner space. But now, after being nourished by the Tree of World, Jun Xiaoyao's Innerverse expanded rapidly, covering an area of more than 10 light years. It had already reached the level of a microscopic world. There were also various material rules and yin and yang rules in it. Jun Xiaoyao was now considered to have stepped into the threshold. But in comparison, people of the same generation had not even opened up their Innerverse. Jun Xiaoyao had surpassed his peers by too much. The chaotic physique formed by the chaotic green lotus should take shape in a few months. However, the sacred body of the ancients integrated with the origin of Tao will probably take some time to completely transform into a quasi-innate sacred body of Tao. Jun Xiaoyao estimated. However, this was also part of his plan. After all, this was his physical body. There was no difference. When the chaotic physique and the quasi-innate sacred body of Tao merged, he would probably be able to defeat everything. Just when Jun Xiaoyao was bored to death, suddenly, he seemed to have noticed something, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. Interesting. I didn't expect that someone would dare to come to this forbidden area with a mortal body. Jun Xiaoyao did not know the situation of this forbidden area. However, he also knew that this was definitely an ancient forbidden area of the foreign realm. However, it was such a dangerous place that a young man who had not even reached the 9th level of the connected sacred realm dared to barge in. It was no different from courting death. Jun Xiaoyao spread out his divine mind and immediately locked onto the young man. It was a young man of the Black Skin clan, Tuoba Yu. His face was handsome, and there was a look of determination. Moreover, his cultivation level was mediocre. This, Jun Xiaoyao had a sense of déjà vu. Wasn't this the standard character setting of a protagonist? Entering the forbidden area, narrowly escaping death, accidentally obtaining an opportunity, and then defying the heavens to change his fate and become a person above others. However, the only thing he could be sure of was, this young man did not have such great luck. He was not like Long Outyin or Wang Tung. The young man of the slave clan is a good candidate for preaching. Moreover, it is quite interesting to personally create a son of luck. Jun Xiaoyao still needed to collect the power of faith to irrigate the seed of faith. It was time for him to set up a chess piece. This Tuoba Yu was a suitable candidate. Chapter 902. Damn it! At the outermost periphery of the heavenly tomb, outside a swamp, Tuoba Yu's face was pale, and his face was covered in cold sweat. One of his feet had accidentally stepped into a rotten swamp. His entire leg had been corroded, and even his bloodshot leg bones could be seen. As expected, I'm not a character in a story. Tuoba Yu collapsed to the ground, feeling the flame of life fading away. He revealed a bitter smile of grief and indignation, despair and unwillingness. Tuoba, you didn't even really enter the heavenly tomb. He collapsed in the periphery, just as Tuoba Yu's consciousness was in a daze. A voice with endless ancient majesty, as if it came from the ancient wilderness, resounded in his mind. Do you want to become stronger and break free from fate? This voice was like a thunderclap that exploded in Tuoba Yu's mind. Who is it? Tuoba Yu's eyes suddenly widened. There was no one in the heavenly tomb. Who would talk to him? I am the planner of fate, the ruler of creation, the source of the heavens, the end of eternity. Everything begins with me. Everything will end with me. This voice almost suffocated Tuoba Yu, and his entire body trembled. The planner of fate, the ruler of creation, the source of the heavens. What kind of supreme existence was this? In the distant void, Jun Xiaoyao's essence, spirit, stood with his hands behind his back, and there was a faint playful smile on his face. Jun Xiaoyao was quite good at fooling people. In short, the more mysterious he was, the more convincing he would be. To Jun Xiaoyao, this was like a game. On the other side, Tuoba Yu's breathing quickened, and his pupils widened. He, who was on the verge of death, seemed to have recovered some vitality at this moment. As expected, the heavens don't want me to die. Tuoba Yu was so excited that every nerve was trembling. He had indeed had a great opportunity. Moreover, the other people's opportunities were either incomplete cultivation techniques, divine herbs, or some kind of inheritance. But Tuoba Yu, he had encountered a god. If it was in any other ordinary place, no one would be easily fooled. But where was this place? It was the heavenly tomb, known as the Forbidden Land of Eternity. It was rumored that a deity had been buried in it. Thinking about it this way, it did not seem impossible to meet a revived god. No expert would be so bored as to play with a member of the Black Skin tribe. Great God of fate and creation, please save me. I am willing to become your eternal believer. Tuoba Yu roared. He was afraid that he would miss this opportunity. Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. He hadn't even started to trick Tuoba Yu, but Tuoba Yu had already taken the initiative to fall into his trap. However, he still had to put on a show. He had to make Tuoba Yu believe that he was the beloved son of the gods. Only then would he be able to wholeheartedly preach. Boom! In the next moment, the world before Tooba Yu's eyes turned upside down. He looked around and found that he had arrived in a boundless universe. This is... Tooba Yu was dumbfounded. He took a deep breath. He could sense that this cosmos was different from the other side. As expected of the great God of creation, Tooba Yu was dumbstruck and incomparably shocked. With his level, he naturally couldn't come into contact with those top supreme big shots who had inner universes. However, even if he could come into contact with them, he wouldn't suspect anything. Because Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe was a law that completely belonged to him. The inner universes of those supreme big shots were only borrowing the laws of the other side. Just as Tooba Yu was shocked, in the distant, endless universe, a blurry figure sat cross-legged, carrying an aura that suppressed the heavens. That figure was enveloped by endless, immortal light. All kinds of runes were resplendent, and the radiance of the great Tao surged. He seemed to be the beginning of all things, as if he was the beginning of creation. The fate, cause, and effect of all things in the world seemed to have turned into a long river that flowed under his body. Behind him, an ancient tree towered into the sky and covered the galaxy. On every leaf, there seemed to be a world floating. Tooba Yu was so shocked that his entire body was trembling. Naturally, he didn't know that it was the world tree. He only felt that this was a great power that even gods might not have. However, what was even more shocking was yet to come. Behind that blurry figure, there was also a terrifying figure that stood behind him. It was simply like an ancient demon god. That kind of aura could crush the heavens with a single strand. It was as if all creatures in the world were going to be annihilated in his hands. No. Undying King. Tooba Yu's mind went blank. He couldn't even speak clearly, almost scared out of his wits, even though he hadn't faced an undying king before. Once an undying king was angered, the entire foreign realm would tremble, heaven and earth changing color. The demonic figure before him had an aura that wasn't inferior to an undying king in the slightest. Meanwhile, that undying king actually quietly fell behind that blurry figure, like a servant or a guardian deity. Heavens, an undying king as a servant. Tooba Yu's three views suffered a huge impact. That was an undying existence that stood at the peak of the foreign realm. It was difficult for ordinary people to even look up to them. Yet now, it was only a servant behind the god of fate and creation. He felt that the god of fate and creation might be even more mysterious than ordinary gods, even more powerful. Tooba Yu pays respects to the god of fate and creation. Tooba Yu knelt down, shivering. He never expected that when he came to the heavenly tomb, he really ran into a revived deity. Tooba Yu lowered his head, not even daring to look at that blurry figure. He was scared that he would blaspheme a deity. Those who chant my true name shall see eternal life in reincarnation. A vast and mighty voice sounded, carrying a wave of undying and indestructible intent. Tooba Yu was so excited his heart was about to jump out. Right now, he didn't seek eternal life. As long as he could become stronger, that was enough. Wong. In the void, a sphere of light appeared, in the end landing in Tooba Yu's hands. That was a jade slip. Inside, naturally recorded the Tao Heart Demonic Seed Art. Many thanks to the god of fate and creation for your bestowment. Tooba Yu's breathing was rushed, inwardly overjoyed. Then it wasn't just this. On the world tree, a leaf shook. A wisp of world force directly merged into Tooba Yu's body. His cultivation skyrocketed. He reached the true deity realm in an instant. Tooba Yu was stunned for an instant, his mind blank. Feeling the surging power in his body, Tooba Yu's eyes were almost red as he shouted crazily. Tooba Yu is willing to sincerely believe in the god of fate and creation for all eternity. Let the glory of the Lord God shine on those suffering living beings. Tooba Yu also had some self-awareness. He had received benefits, so he naturally had to preach for the great supreme existence. This was nothing out of the ordinary. After a moment of dizziness, Tuoba returned to his original spot. He realized that his injuries had completely healed. His cultivation was still at the true deity realm. Looking at the jade slip in his hand, Tuoba couldn't wait. After a round of investigation, his eyes shone brightly. The Tao Heart demonic seed art is indeed worthy of being a supreme cultivation technique bestowed by the god of fate and creation. Tuoba took a deep breath. If this cultivation technique was given to others to cultivate, he could obtain their cultivation talent and results. 1 would spread to 10, 10 would spread to 100. How strong would Tuoba become in the end? Even he himself couldn't imagine. I must shine the glory of the god of fate and creation on all the slaves. Tuoba expression was determined as he left the heavenly tomb. However, he didn't know that a figure in the void was watching him leave with a faint smile. The chess piece has been placed. A new round of arrangements has begun. Chapter 903. Even Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect that tricking people would be so easy. The so-called immortal king's figure was naturally the evil thoughts of the gods that were sealed in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. It was good to use it to show off. In addition, there was the world tree that flowed with the power of the world. To be honest, it was quite scary. The slave race youth, Tuoba, was just a small chess piece that Jun Xiaoyao had set up. Although he was now so weak that he could almost be ignored, and his status was extremely lowly. But don't forget, 1,000-mile dike could be destroyed by an ant's nest. The bigger the monster, the more likely it was to be subverted by some ant-like existences. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao didn't expect that Tuoba alone could shake the foundation of the foreign realm. He just treated Tuoba as a tool to collect the power of faith. At this moment, in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe, the seed of faith floated quietly in it. A cluster of fluorescent light suddenly appeared. Although it wasn't very big, it was very dazzling and dazzling. That was Tuoba's power of faith. Because he was a little weak, there wasn't much power of faith. However, he had a crazy devout heart for Jun Xiaoyao, so it was very dazzling. This cluster of power of faith merged into the seed of faith. There was no change, like a stone sinking into the sea. Jun Xiaoyao also understood that if he wanted the seed of faith to bloom, he would need more power of faith. Next, let's see what Tuoba will do. I have given him a cultivation talent that is equivalent to 1,000th of my own. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. The Tao Heart demonic seed art had an ability, which was to reward other cultivators with talent. Jun Xiaoyao had given Tuoba a cultivation talent that was equivalent to 1,000th of his own. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao himself didn't lose any talent. Don't underestimate 1,000th. One had to know that Jun Xiaoyao's talent couldn't even be described as an anomaly or a peerless monster. A drop of his blood could create a top genius. A 1,000th of his talent couldn't be underestimated. On the other side, Tuoba, who had left the heavenly tomb, had an extremely excited expression on his face. He wanted to catch up with the Cyclops tribe and save his sister and the other tribesmen. Although Tuoba only had true God realm cultivation right now, he possessed the ability to jump realms and challenge. Dealing with the Cyclops wasn't a big problem. What made him even happier was that his strength was constantly increasing. It felt as though his cultivation had increased significantly with every breath he took. This was naturally because of the 1,000th of the talent that Jun Xiaoyao had bestowed upon him. Even if Jun Xiaoyao were to lie down every day without moving, his cultivation speed would still be much faster than those cultivators who cultivated diligently. This is too heaven-defying. Is this the reward from the god of fate and creation? I must not disappoint him. Tuoba became even more excited, and he strengthened his confidence in preaching. Soon, a few days had passed. Tuoba caught up with the Cyclops team. It's you, Brat. Are you really here to die? Seeing Tuoba appear alone, the Cyclops leader grinned, revealing his blood-stained fangs. Little you don't. In the crowd, Tuoba, who was tied up like a commodity, saw this, and her pretty face lost all color. Today I, Tuoba, will tell you that the Black Skin tribe will never be slaves. Tuoba's aura erupted, and like a young tiger, he charged out. In just a short moment, all the Cyclops tribe members present turned into a pool of minced flesh and blood. Little, little you. Tuobalan was stunned, her eyes wide open. All the other slaves around were also stunned. Sister, it's okay. I'll tell you later. After Tuoba, you rescued everyone. He pulled Tuobalan over alone. Sister, you definitely don't know what I've experienced. Tuoba, you told his sister everything that he knew. Besides, he was going to spread the glory of the god of fate and creation in the first place. So he wouldn't hide anything. What? The god of fate and creation? Tuobalan was stunned. What kind of supreme existence was this? And she had no choice but to believe it. Because the current Tuoba, you was simply reborn. He was even stronger than the black-skinned tribe's patriarch. Sister, this is the technique bestowed by the god of fate and creation. Take it and cultivate. Not only you, but the other black-skinned tribe members also have to cultivate it. After that, even the other slaves have to cultivate it and let them worship the god of fate and creation. Tuoba, you passed the Dowhart demonic seed art to Tuobalan. Tuobalan's pretty face was filled with shock. She had never seen such a profound technique. What was even rarer was that she actually understood it. This meant that no matter how low a living being's cultivation was, they were qualified to cultivate this technique. I want the glory of the god of fate and creation to shine on all the oppressed slaves. Tuoba Yu's expression was firm and confident. He believed that he could become a rebel against the order, a subverter of the rules. Meanwhile, in the heavenly tomb, Jun Xiaoyao immediately sensed it. Traces of the power of faith came from the unseen world. After entering the inner universe, they turned into balls of faith light and merged into the seed of faith. Although each ball of faith light was not large, it was very pure and dazzling. It proved that it was a devout faith. Not bad. Tuoba Yu has already started to work. Jun Xiaoyao was quite satisfied with this chess piece. He could feel that the demonic seeds were beginning to be born in the bodies of the slaves. Jun Xiaoyao was able to decide their fates with a single thought. Next, Jun Xiaoyao no longer paid attention to the seed of faith. He knew that if he wanted the seed of faith to completely bloom, he still needed a huge amount of power of faith. This was not something that could be done overnight. Next, Jun Xiaoyao began to pay attention to his physical body. He realized that blood was seeping out of the shattered Supreme Being bone. The blood was colorful and resplendent, as if it contained the laws of the heavens and the patterns of the great Tao. Jun Xiaoyao carefully examined it. After the paragon bone shattered, Jun Xiaoyao had thought that he might lose this physique. Now, it seemed that he had broken it. Not only did the paragon bone not disappear, but it also transformed into an even more powerful form. The paragon divine blood. Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. It was rumored that the paragon bone had an ultimate transformation, turning into the paragon divine blood that flowed throughout the body. From the looks of it, the bright and resplendent blood of the utmost divinity and utmost divinity should be the utmost divinity blood after the utmost divinity bone had transformed. Not bad. After transforming into the paragon divine blood, it can also give birth to the fourth supreme technique. In addition, the previous 3 paragon bone mystical abilities can also be used. It won't be affected. Jun Xiaoyao truly believed that he had gained far too much out of this. After that, Jun Xiaoyao continued to stay in the dark valley of the heavenly tomb. After all, without a physical body, it was too dangerous to walk outside with just the primordial spirit. It would also attract the attention of many people. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was waiting for his physical body to be reconstructed, the mechanical voice of the system sounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations to the host. A new check-in location has been refreshed. Please check in the depths of the heavenly tomb. Chapter 904. Sign in the depths of the heavenly tomb. Jun Xiaoyao was slightly taken aback. The dark valley he was currently in was roughly in the central region of the heavenly tomb. It was indeed quite a distance away from the deepest part. Moreover, the depths of the heavenly tomb was obviously an extremely dangerous place. Even Supremes didn't dare to barge in recklessly. Jun Xiaoyao didn't mind. It was just that his physical body hadn't been reconstructed yet. It was indeed a little dangerous for him to barge into the depths of the heavenly tomb with just his primordial spirit. Jun Xiaoyao planned to sign in the depths of the heavenly tomb after recovering his physical body. After that, Jun Xiaoyao waited for his physical body to recover. In addition, his primordial spirit had also completely recovered. After all, the divine spirit indestructible technique wasn't just for show. It had an extremely strong recovery ability for both the physical body and primordial spirit. And as Jun Xiaoyao's physical body was reconstructed and recovered, the strands of aura pressure grew even stronger. The entire heavenly tomb was filled with chaotic energy. Such a commotion finally attracted the attention of some foreign royal clans in this area. After all, the heavenly tomb was an ancient forbidden land. It was very sensitive and easily attracted some attention. Tens of thousands of miles away from the heavenly tomb, there was an incomparably magnificent city. This city seemed to be standing in the wind and snow. The city walls were ice blue and made of 10,000-year-old black ice. This was the residence of one of the foreign royal clans, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan. In its heyday, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan was once one of the top 10 royal clans. But during the war between the two worlds in a certain era, the Ice Spirit Royal Clan suffered heavy losses, and many of their experts died. Even an ancient ancestor whose cultivation had reached the quasi-immortal realm died. This dealt a fatal blow to the Ice Spirit Royal Clan. From the top 10 royal clans, they fell to the bottom of the 100 royal clans. If it weren't for the legacy of their ancestors, they might not even be able to maintain their status as a royal clan. It was an exaggeration to say that the Ice Spirit Royal Clan was a declining royal clan. At this moment, in the center of the city, in an ice palace hall, a silver-haired middle-aged man was sitting on the throne. Below him was a group of Ice Spirit Royal Clan elders and family generals. In the center, a beautiful girl in a blue snowflake dress stood. From her appearance, she looked to be around 18 years old. But to cultivators, appearance could never determine a person's true age. Cultivators under 1,000 years old were considered very young. This beautiful young girl had a head of silvery hair that was as smooth as snow. Her eyes were also silver, as beautiful as ice crystals. Her oval face was extremely beautiful. Her nose was straight, and her lips were bright red. Her figure is also very good, with undulating curves. The most eye-catching thing about her was her skin, which was as white as snow. She looked like a beauty carved out of ice and snow. "Father, why did you call Qing Shui here?" The silver-haired girl's name was Fei Qing Shui. Recently, the heavenly tomb has been a bit unusual. There might be some opportunities there. Maybe we can find a way to recover your heavenly ice bone, said Celestial Master Bingling. Fei Qing Shui's father, Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit, was a Grand Empyrean. He was also the current chief of the Ice Spirit Royal family. I understand. Fei Qing Shui nodded, but her expression didn't change much. When she was born, she had a heavenly ice bone in her body. Everyone in the Ice Spirit Royal family believed that Fei Qing Shui was a sign of the rise of the Ice Spirit Royal family. But the heavens were playing tricks on them. The heavenly ice bone in Fei Qing Shui's body was actually broken since birth. This made the Ice Spirit Royal family's hope for Fei Qing Shui turn into disappointment. By the way, there's one more thing, said Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit with a hint of hesitation. For some reason, Fei Qing Shui's heart skipped a beat. Something was wrong. The Cinder-classed royal family sent a message. "Prince Yin wants to marry you as his concubine," said Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit. "Father, that's impossible." Fei Qing Shui's mind buzzed, and she immediately refused. As the saying went, fire and water were incompatible. The Ice Spirit Royal family and the Cinder-classed royal family had always been at odds. During the Ice Spirit Royal family's heyday, they had suppressed the Cinder-classed royal family. But now the Ice Spirit Royal family hadn't fallen behind, and the Cinder-classed royal family had suppressed the Ice Spirit Royal family. Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit sighed deeply. If it's just the cinder-classed royal family, I can barely bear the pressure. But somehow, they formed a relationship with the Black Peacock clan. Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit's words made Fei Qingxue freeze. The Black Peacock clan. That was one of the top 10 royal clans. The Black Peacock King was also a famous quasi-immortal level expert in the foreign domain. If the Black Peacock King could break through and become an immortal king, the Black Peacock clan would immediately become a quasi-emperor clan, just like the Scarlet Owl clan. It was no wonder that Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit felt so helpless to form a relationship with such a powerful clan. After all, which father would be willing to let his daughter become someone else's concubine? Qingxue, you're not only thinking for yourself, but also for the entire clan. Heavenly Venerate Ice Spirit looked haggard as she sighed helplessly. Yes, Miss Qingxue, some of the Ice Spirit royal family's elders around are all advised. Let Qingxue have some time alone. Fei Qingxue bit her red lips and left. A few days later, a group left the Ice Spirit royal family city and headed toward the Heavenly Tomb. Not only that, but the other royal clans in this area also sent out teams. There were even some generals who were curious about the changes in the Heavenly Tomb and wanted to send people out to investigate. Jun Xiaoyao naturally didn't know that he only wanted to recover his physical body. He actually attracted so much attention. Whoosh! 1,000-foot-long golden sword ray shone in the dark valley, bringing with it an invincible aura that could cut through the sky. It was as if the sky was about to be split into two. Is this the power of the heaven-slashing art? Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit murmured as he watched the huge void crack gradually closing. The heaven-slashing art, one of the 5 great divine arts, was indeed powerful. When it was used by Jun Xiaoyao, who is now a quasi-emperor, it was even more powerful. The current me is far, far stronger than the past me. It can be said that I can easily crush my past self. Jun Xiaoyao was comprehending the 7th stage of the supremacy realm. It felt as if the barrier between heaven and earth had disappeared. It was as if he could personally touch the great Tao. It was no wonder that only those at the 7th stage of the supremacy realm were qualified to establish an inner universe. After all, they didn't have a deep understanding of the Tao and laws, so they didn't have the ability to establish an inner universe. Although I'm a quasi-emperor, with my current strength and physical recovery, I reckon that even a perfected quasi-emperor can't do anything to me. Jun Xiaoyao estimated his own strength. At the 7th stage of the supremacy realm, not to mention challenging someone who was a whole realm higher. Even crossing a small realm was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. For example, an early stage to mid-stage quasi-emperor. The difference might be even greater than a few realms of the 9th stage of the sage realm combined. This was also the reason why it was very difficult to challenge someone who was a higher realm in the supremacy realm. However, a monster like Jun Xiaoyao couldn't be judged by common sense. Jun Xiaoyao was a little impatient now to recover his physical body. Only then could he emerge from the Heavenly Tomb and meet the powerful beings of the foreign realm. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit suddenly revealed a strange expression. Another living being has come to the Heavenly Tomb, and this time it's a royal living being. Chapter 905. Several groups of royal families gathered outside the Heavenly Tomb. There were also many generals who wanted to share. Is that Fei Qingxue, the princess of the Ice Spirit royal family? She's indeed a famous beauty in the Heavenly Tomb state. So what if she's a beauty? She's just a flower vase. I heard that Prince Yin of the Fiery Rock royal family will take her as his concubine. Sigh, what a pity. Whispers of discussion could be vaguely heard in the surroundings. Fei Qingxue didn't care about the whispers in the Ice Spirit royal family's group. However, she clenched her fists tightly. No woman would be willing to be a flower vase. Qingxue, you're here. A fiery chariot pulled by a scarlet phoenix came from afar. A handsome man in a golden imperial robe stood on the leading chariot. His hair was burning like flames, and his eyes were red. It was Prince Yin of the Fiery Rock royal family. He was less than 1,000 years old, and he was already a Saint King expert. He was definitely not bad among the foreign royal prodigies. Fei Qingshue's face was cold, and she didn't say anything. Prince Yin also smiled, not minding it. After all, Fei Qingxue was just a bird in a cage. Wouldn't she become his toy in the future? Qingxue, if you marry me as my concubine, it'll be good for you, me, and the family behind us. If the war between the two worlds with the immortal region happens again, and a few more members of the Ice Spirit royal family die, such as your father, heavenly venerable Ice Spirit, you might not even be able to maintain your royal status. Prince Yin smiled, but there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Are you threatening me? Fei Qingxue gritted her teeth. Of course not. There's no need for that. Marry me, it'll be good for you. Maybe we can dual cultivate and develop the ice and fire bipolar body. I don't care about your broken heavenly ice bone. You only disgust me. Fei Qingshue's face was filled with anger. Heh, Fei Qingxue, don't be ungrateful. I'm related to the Black Peacock, race's prodigy. In the future, the Heavenly Immortal Banquet will be held in the Heavenly Tomb State. I will attend the banquet. At that time, if you still don't agree, don't blame me for not being able to maintain my poise. Prince Yin also made things clear. He smiled coldly and entered the Heavenly Tomb with a group of fiery rock royal race experts. Fei Qingxue trembled slightly. The Heavenly Immortal Banquet was a grand banquet for the geniuses of the Heavenly Tomb State. At that time, not to mention the royal clans and the top royal clans, even the geniuses of the quasi-emperor clans and above might appear. Prince Yin wanted Fei Qingxue to give him an answer at that time. He could use the Black Peacock race's power to suppress her. Next, Fei Qingxue also entered the Heavenly Tomb. However, what made the members of the Ice Spirit royal family panic was that Fei Qingxue had shaken them off and entered the Heavenly Tomb alone. This was no different from courting death. Miss Qingxue, the creatures of the Icy Spirit royal family were shouting and panicking. It was obvious that Fei Qingxue wanted to die. I'm sorry, father, but Qingxue can't stand such humiliation. I'd rather die. Fei Qingxue's figure flashed through the Heavenly Tomb like an ice butterfly. Ingqi's beautiful eyes were filled with determination. Instead of letting her become Prince Yan's plaything, she would rather die. However, just as Fei Qingxue entered a dark valley with the determination to die, in an instant, the world spun. Fei Qingxue looked around again and found that she had come to a vast universe. Fei Qingxue was extremely shocked and confused. Rumble. In the depths of the universe, a blurry figure appeared and sat cross-legged in the sky. All kinds of great Tao auras, the river of time, and karma threads surrounded his body. That blurry figure was like the source of the heavens, the beginning of all things, and the beginning of creation. Behind him, an indescribably vast, ancient tree towered into the sky. The tree crown covered the vast universe. One leaf, one world. Is that the world tree? Fei Qingxue's mind was filled with hundreds of thousands of thunderbolts. Compared to Taoba Yu, Fei Qingxue, who was born in the royal clan, had higher standards. Even so, she was still shocked by the scene in front of her. She was tongue-tied. However, that was not all. A demon-like figure exuded boundless power. A wisp of aura could crush everything. It's the aura of an immortal king. Fei Qingxue's delicate body trembled, and she could not help but kneel down. In the foreign realm, immortal kings were the heavens. Their anger could shake heaven and earth. Their roar could shake the heavens. But now, the figure that exuded the aura of an immortal king was sitting cross-legged behind the blurry figure like a servant. Fei Qingxue was already shocked to the point of numbness. I'm a master of fate, the master of creation, the source of the heavens, the end of the era. The mighty voice spread throughout the universe. Even though Fei Qingxue was the royal clan's princess, she was still shocked. She knew that she had encountered a supreme existence. This supreme existence was unbelievably powerful, unparalleled, unimaginably powerful. If it was elsewhere, Fei Qingxue might have some doubts. But this was the eternal forbidden land, the heavenly tomb. It was rumored that a true god was buried here. Since that was the case, There was nothing strange about encountering anything. Fei Qingxue greets the Supreme. Fei Qingxue knelt with her head lowered. What pride of a princess! In front of a supreme existence, it was nothing. Fei Qingxue felt that she was even more insignificant than an ant. What followed was naturally another round of deception. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao also gave the Dao Heart Demonic Seed art to Fei Qingxue. Not only that, he also gave her a drop of blood. This drop of blood was bright and dazzling. It was divine and holy. It was the supreme divine blood that was formed after the supreme bone was shattered and reborn. Jun Xiaoyao observed that Fei Qingxue also had an incomplete, icy, heavenly bone in her body, which was just right. Thank you, God of fate and creation, for your bestowment. Fei Qingxue's beautiful silver eyes were also filled with fanatical worship. This supreme existence not only gave her a heaven-defying cultivation technique, he also gave her a drop of precious divine blood. This drop of divine blood merged with the incomplete, icy, heavenly bone in Fei Qingxue's body. Suddenly, the icy, heavenly bone underwent a change. All kinds of ice laws appeared. Fei Qingxue only felt that her icy, heavenly bone had transformed into an icy Dao bone, and it was complete. Not only that, but Fei Qingxue's strength also skyrocketed. She broke through the bottleneck and directly broke through to the Sage King realm. Fei Qingxue's jade-like body trembled. Her white jade face, which was like an ice sculpture, also had a rare touch of redness because of excitement. A drop of blood turned her incomplete heavenly bone into a Dao bone. Such a supreme power of creation. Other than a true supreme God, who else could do it? I, Fei Qingxue, am willing to become an eternal believer of the God of fate and creation. Fei Qingxue was so excited that she couldn't control herself. It was the God of fate and creation that allowed her to control her own fate. It was no wonder that this unparalleled existence was known as fate. Now, even if Jun Xiaoyao wanted Fei Qingxue to die, Fei Qingxue would probably be very happy. Finally, Fei Qingxue left the cosmic space. Her eyes were filled with confidence. At the heavenly immortal banquet, she would probably give Prince Yin and everyone a big surprise. Looking at Fei Qingxue's beautiful figure leaving, Jun Xiaoyao's figure appeared in the void of the dark valley. He stood with his hands behind his back and a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. A lowly slave youth and a fallen princess with a crippled heavenly bone. Jun Xiaoyao was quite satisfied with the child of fortune and the daughter of fortune that he had personally created. Although I don't plan to infiltrate the royal family for now, I have already planted the chess pieces in advance. There's also the heavenly immortal banquet. Interesting, Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself. Chapter 906. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. The commotion in the heavenly tomb also attracted many geniuses from the general and royal clans to investigate. Of course, most of them still died in the heavenly tomb's strange occurrences. The dark valley where Jun Xiaoyao was, however, remained undisturbed. Rumble. On this day, there was a thick, chaotic aura surging in the dark valley. All kinds of mysterious and complicated chaotic Dao laws appeared in the void. It's about time. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the cocoon formed by the chaotic mist, and a faint smile appeared on his lips. It seemed that he was much stronger than he had expected. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit directly escaped into it. Rumble. The clouds in the sky churned, and thunder surged. This phenomenon was not limited to the heavenly tomb's surroundings. In fact, there were more or less strange heavenly phenomena in the entire foreign realm. The birth of a monster, heaven and earth changed. This phenomenon. Could it be that another peerless monster is about to be born in our foreign realm? Tis TSK. Heaven and earth are resonating. What kind of monster is this? Could it be that another seed of an immortal emperor clan has appeared? As expected, a true dragon is born in a great world. The appearance of such a monster is greatly beneficial to our realm. In various parts of the foreign realm, some great figures were communicating with their divine wills. They all naturally believed that a peerless monster had appeared in their foreign realm. Another monster is about to appear. This is good too. There are many monsters in this generation of the immortal realm. In the region where the cat-tail devil clan was, Pu Yao sat cross-legged in a place full of spiritual energy, looking at the phenomenon in the sky and muttering to himself. To be honest, he was really scared by Jun Xiaoyao. The injuries left behind in the divine ruins had not completely healed even now. Fortunately, Jun Xiaoyao has already fallen, and the greatest hidden danger has been removed. Pu Yao heaved a sigh of relief when he thought of this. If Pu Yao were to find out that the phenomenon was caused by Jun Xiaoyao, he would probably have a mental breakdown. On the other side, Tushan. Two beautiful figures stood on top of a cliff, looking at the strange phenomenon in the sky. One of the women was wearing a long dress with flowing sleeves. Her figure was slender and light, as flawless as a jade carving. Her eyebrows were curved, her beautiful eyes were clear, and her nose was straight. Her skin was as white as snow, delicate and flawless. It was the third princess of Tushan Xiao Xiao. The woman in front of her was extremely tall and slender. Although she was wearing a loose red dress, it was difficult to conceal her extremely hot and alluring figure. Her breasts were towering, as if they were about to burst out of her clothes. However, her small waist was easily grasped. Her delicate but was perky. Under the split of the skirt, a pair of plump long legs could be seen, round and smooth. What was a curvy front and curvy back? What was curvaceous? It was vividly interpreted by this extremely charming woman. She was definitely a seductive beauty. She also had 9 fiery red foxtails on her back and 2 fox ears on her head. A wine gourd hung from his waist. I really don't know what kind of monster is going to appear again, the woman in the red dress said lazily. Her voice was seductive and charming. What's wrong? Big sister, are you thinking of love again? Tushan Xiao smiled slightly. This woman in red with an excellent figure. She was the leader of the 5 beauties of Tushan, the eldest princess, Tushan Ye. Sigh, I'm thinking of men. Unfortunately, there's no one in my world that I like. Tushan Ye shook her head and sighed. The red string on her wrist didn't move. The red string would only release the red string of marriage when it met a suitable person. This was related to the immortal scripture they cultivated, the immortal scripture of love and dream. This immortal scripture was very special. Not only did it strengthen the Tushan Fox clan, if they could find the destined person and pull the red string of marriage, this immortal scripture would be upgraded. Their talent and strength would undergo a qualitative change, and they would experience an explosive increase. It was precisely because of this that the 5 beauties of Tushan wanted to find the destined person. Of course, it was difficult for most of the Tushan Fox clan to find the destined person. They could only find someone who was passable and make do with it. Third sister, you said that your red string released the red string of marriage before, and the target was the son of God of the immortal regions, Jun Xiaoyao? Tushan Ye turned to look at Tushan Xiao with an expression of disbelief. She didn't expect the red string of marriage to be able to affect someone from the immortal region. Indeed, that Jun Xiaoyao was a unique man. Not only was his appearance unparalleled, but his strength was also at the top of the immortal region's current generation. Originally, I wanted to kidnap him to my world. Unfortunately, in the end, I used my body to seal the evil intent of a god and was killed by the people of the immortal region. Tushan Xiao's tone was filled with pity. After all, that was a man she rarely liked. Sigh, what a pity. It's rare for a man to attract my interest. I really want to see what he's like. Tushan Ye stretched herself lazily. Her exaggerated curves were enough to make any male lose their mind. No wonder the 5 beauties of Tushan's name was spread throughout the foreign domain, and countless geniuses turned into licking dogs. Hearing Tushan Ye's words, Tushan Xiao was also a little embarrassed. She knew that her eldest sister had a strong desire in certain aspects and was a little thirsty. It was just that she was too picky, so she kept herself pure. However, if Jun Xiaoyao was still alive, he might really be liked by Tushan Ye. After all, Jun Xiaoyao had the sacred body of the ancients and was full of vitality. It should be more than enough to satisfy Tushan Yeye. However, now that he was gone, she could only think about it. By the way, the date of our five sisters' groom selection has been set. When the time comes, we can only see who is pleasing to the eye, Tushan Yeye said. Tushan Xiaoxiao sighed. This was also a helpless action. The five sisters also needed a Taoist partner, so they couldn't keep dragging it out. By the way, Sister Iya, fifth sister, has disappeared for a while. Is it okay? Tushan Xiaoxiao asked. Little five, she's just resisting the groom selection. We can find her later, Tushan Yeye said casually. Little five, the youngest of the five sisters, was also the most spoiled and eccentric. Some people were obsessed with love and believed in the supremacy of love. She had always been a little resistant to the groom selection. Every day, she thought about finding the destined one. It wasn't just the Puyao Emperor clan and Tushan. Some of the other immortal emperor clans in the foreign realm saw the phenomenon in the sky. They were also sighing that a monster was about to be born. In fact, there were even some monarch clans that sent out people to search for the monstrous genius that triggered the abnormal phenomenon and recruit him or her to their clans. The immortal emperor clans were clans that ordinary foreign creatures could only look up to. However, as long as one had absolute monstrous talent, they could be selected and nurtured by the emperor clans. Jun Xiaoyao naturally didn't know that he would cause such a sensation in the foreign realm. If all the foreign creatures knew that the one who caused the phenomenon was a cultivator from the immortal realm, no one would dare to believe it. Rumble. In the dark valley, the chaotic energy seemed to have turned solid and spread in all directions. It was accompanied by an earth-shattering sound. The chaotic cocoon suddenly split open. A slender figure in white, like a revived god of chaos, shattered the void in all directions, stirred up the wind and clouds of the nine heavens, and broke out of the cocoon. Chapter 907. Boom! Heaven and earth shook, and the universe resonated. Countless patterns of the great Tao were imprinted in the void. All kinds of chaos laws appeared. This valley seemed to have returned to the most primitive chaos. All the essence of heaven and earth in the entire heavenly tomb was sucked into it. In the center of the cracked chaos cocoon, Jun Xiaoyao stood tall and straight, his clothes as white as snow. He emerged from the cocoon. The chaotic light enveloped his body. He seemed to be walking leisurely from the origin of the universe that separated the heaven and earth. The chaos laws wrapped around his body like a waterfall. Countless runes flowed around his body like a river of stars. With every step he took, the space under his feet collapsed silently. It was as if the space could not bear the terrifying power of the chaotic physique. This scene was terrifying to the extreme. If there were experts here, they would definitely be extremely shocked. Jun Xiaoyao's current aura was that of a quasi-supreme. However, his aura was extremely shocking. It was much higher than that of an ordinary quasi-supreme. It was as if he had surpassed the level of life of ordinary creatures. He was born high and mighty, with all laws and Tao following him, overlooking the ups and downs of the world. It feels like it's not bad. Jun Xiaoyao raised his palm. His skin was fair and delicate, and his bones were slender. His body was well-proportioned, as if it contained the harmonious chaos laws of heaven and earth. Although he did not look like a tiger's back or a bear's waist, he did not have any explosive muscles. However, Jun Xiaoyao felt that he could blow up an ancient star with one punch. Compared to the physique and strength of the physical body, the chaotic physique was not much inferior to the sacred body of the ancients. Strictly speaking, Jun Xiaoyao was not considered a chaotic physique. However, his physique was the same as the Azure Emperor's. He had talent attributes that were almost no different from the chaotic physique. In comparison, the 10 Princes of Jinwu's incomplete postnatal chaotic physique was not even considered trash. It was an extremely trashy piece of trash. Now, Jun Xiaoyao could casually blow up the 10 Princes of Jinwu's postnatal chaotic physique with one punch. I wonder if the real chaotic physique is enough for me. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a playful smile. He knew that a mortal domain had a chaotic body seed that had been hidden all this time, not appearing in the world. Moreover, Jun Xiaoyao guessed that it was the Star Saint Protector who instructed Kai Ji and the others to snatch Yu Chanwan in the original Imperial City. It was very likely that the one standing behind him was the Chaos Body. This was because the sacred lunar body was very beneficial to the chaotic body. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was currently in the other side, so he didn't have to think that far for the time being. The quasi-connate, saintly being's Tao fetus still needs some time to evolve. Jun Xiaoyao looked at another cocoon shrouded in endless brilliance. Although the sacred body of the ancients had been fully restored, it was still infused with the origin of Tao. Therefore, it would take some time for it to transform into a quasi-connate sacred being. As for how long it would take, Jun Xiaoyao had no idea. With a wave of his hand, he sealed the entire Dark Valley with the fourth immortal forbidding seal. In any case, this was the Heavenly Tomb, a forbidden land of 10,000 years. There were few people here, so he wasn't afraid that someone would discover this place. It's time to come out. It's also a good time to test the strength of the chaotic body. But before that, I still need to enter the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. Jun Xiaoyao didn't forget that he still had a chance to sign in the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. The dark valley he was in was located in the central region of the Heavenly Tomb. Jun Xiaoyao stepped into the void and rushed towards the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. Along the way, there were many incomplete killing arrays, void rifts, strange quagmires, and so on. However, Jun Xiaoyao ignored them all. As he took a step, he was like a god of chaos. The chaotic energy crushed everything around him and directly pushed his way in. However, the deeper he went into the Heavenly Tomb, Jun Xiaoyao could feel that there were strands of ribbon-like dark matter floating in the air. Finally, Jun Xiaoyao arrived at the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. The dark matter here was already extremely dense, turning into rolling black fog. It could be said that even the powerhouses of the other side wouldn't be able to withstand the erosion of this dark matter. They would fall into madness and lose themselves. This was also why the depths of the Heavenly Tomb were absolute forbidden grounds that no one dared to enter. But Jun Xiaoyao was different. In his inner verse, there was a drop of pitch-black blood that was extremely deep. It was the 10-star reward given by the system, the celestial black blood. If Jun Xiaoyao needed it, he could fuse the celestial black blood into his body and enter a dark state. But when he didn't need it, the celestial black blood would quietly float in the inner verse. It was precisely because of the existence of this drop of celestial black blood that Jun Xiaoyao was immune to the black fog in the depths of the Heavenly Tomb. With this drop of celestial black blood, I might be able to enter and explore many strange forbidden grounds on the other side, Jun Xiaoyao thought. In his eyes, the other side was a huge treasure trove waiting to be excavated. The depths of the Heavenly Tomb were dark. A chaotic light surged in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. With a glance, there were many unknown remains and bones here, as well as rotten coffins and so on. Many of them were corpses from the last era, or even older. Although it had been a long time since their deaths, the remains they left behind still emitted a terrifying pressure. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was immune to this pressure. He went deeper into it, as if nothing had happened. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were deep. He discovered that there was a traction array under the many coffins here, leading to the core area in front of them. Looking at the array patterns, they should be very ancient energy traction array patterns. And there are so many coffins of fallen powerhouses here. These energies are all gathered in one place. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. His eyesight was so high that he immediately recognized it. In front of him was a basin. However, within it, there was a mound of graves. There was a wordless monument on top of it. There were no records. Just as Jun Xiaoyao stepped onto the edge of the basin. Rumble. There was suddenly a strange movement here. On the ground, the array began to light up. The surrounding dense, dark matter surged and gathered towards the mound. In an instant, the sky darkened, and ghosts wailed and wolves howled, as if a peerless evil was about to come into being. A huge array formation appeared in the entire basin. The connected patterns were like 6 connected dark stars. A dark 6-pointed star totem. That is, looking at the 6-pointed star totem, Jun Xiaoyao frowned. He vaguely felt that he had stumbled upon some great ancient secret. Boom! The 6-pointed star totem on the ground erupted with dazzling dark divine light and shot into the sky. Rumble. The sky trembled. It was far more shocking than the previous phenomenon in the sky, affecting the entire foreign realm. Countless creatures raised their heads and could see the 6-pointed star imprint in the sky of the foreign realm. Countless experts from the royal and quasi-emperor clans cried out in alarm. That is a 6-pointed star. Could it be that the legend of the end of the world is about to be activated? Countless experts revealed shocked expressions. Only some of the younger generation of the foreign realm were a little puzzled. Senior, what does that 6-pointed star represent? In a certain royal clan, a young man raised his head to look at the sky and then asked an old man in the clan for guidance. The old man's tone was trembling and excited as he spoke. The dark 6-pointed star represents that in the legend of the end of the world-destroying 6 kings who brought doomsday to the immortal realm are about to awaken. Chapter 908. In the foreign realm, there was an ancient legend that had been passed down for a long time. When the Great Era was destroyed, the heavens were in turmoil, the 2 realms fighting a great war. There would be 6 great darkness sequence imprints. These 6 great darkness sequence imprints would land on the bodies of 6 exceptional monsters. They would become the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends. In the future, they would have a chance to receive the mysterious inheritance, become true undying kings. Then, the 6 great undying kings would destroy the world, completely breaking through a mortal domain, ending the great war between 2 realms. Of course, this was just an ancient legend passed down in the foreign realm. Hard to tell if it was true or false. Even now, it had never truly been realized. But now, looking at the darkness 6-pointed star imprint in the sky dome above, the entire foreign realm seemed to have experienced a magnitude 18 earthquake. A top-level king clan expert shouted, "Find it, hurry, and find it for me. You must find the heaven-defying pride of heaven with the darkness sequence imprint for me." A darkness sequence imprint holder, if they didn't die, they would definitely become an undying king in the future. From a certain perspective, it was equivalent to possessing the heavenly Tao crown. Top-level king clans only lacked an undying king before they could become true half-emperor clans. If they could find one of the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends and carefully nurture him, that would be equivalent to obtaining a future undying king for free. You must find that darkness sequence imprint holder for me. A few top-level king clans began to mobilize. Not only this, even half-emperor clans and true undying emperor clans couldn't hold themselves back, starting to send people to search. This kind of heaven-defying, level heaven-defying pride of heaven. If they could recruit one, they would be able to extend their clan's fate for several great eras at the very least. Heavenly geniuses were sought after everywhere, drawing the struggle of many powers. You must find that heaven-defying pride of heaven. I want to marry my daughter to him. There were even half-emperor clan experts who released this type of roar. I have 10 daughters, as long as that monster is strong enough. What harm is there in marrying them all to him? Immortal source, undying medicine, half-emperor weapon, as long as we have it, we can give it all, as long as we can recruit that monster. Experts from the various factions roared out in unison. One could imagine just how great of a shock the appearance of the world-destroying 6 kings of doomsday legends brought to the foreign realm. However, the one who started all of this, Jun Xiaoyao, was a bit stunned, not understanding what was going on. He did not know anything about the doomsday myths, the 6 kings of destruction, or the dark echelon. He only felt that there should be a prodigy of the immortal realm buried in this grave. There are many corpses here. All of them were extremely powerful experts when they were alive. The skeletons they left behind also contained extremely vigorous energy and life essence. The energy from the corpses of so many experts had gathered at the mound through a special formation. From this, it could be seen that the person buried in the mound was definitely not simple. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was trying to figure out the dark six-pointed star and the identity of the living being in the burial mound, suddenly, a pale hand reached out from the mound. What followed was a monstrous demonic aura. It was a young man with a tall and sturdy figure and a demonic aura. He crawled out of the grave. His unkempt hair was covered with dirt. The clothes on his body were very ancient and extremely tattered. There were simply pieces of cloth that stuck to his body. There was a hint of confusion in his eyes. Then, it was suddenly filled with the radiance of the demonic nature. A hoarse laugh came out of his mouth. The gods have died, the demons have been destroyed, but I have survived. I can feel that this era is the true era of great battles. I uphold the mandate of heaven and descend into this era of kings that belongs to me. The young man with the demonic nature roared towards the sky, his black hair dancing wildly. His laughter was like thunder, shaking all directions. However, at this moment, suddenly, the young man sensed that a foot appeared in front of him and then fiercely imprinted on his face. Bang! The man who had just crawled out of the mound was kicked over. The one who kicked was naturally Jun Xiaoyao. If I'm not wrong, you should be a seed-level figure from the other side. Coincidentally, my chaotic physique still lacks an opponent. Jun Xiaoyao's tone was indifferent. He was just worried that he could not find an opponent to measure his true strength. Coincidentally, a seed-level figure from the other side appeared. However, Jun Xiaoyao had indeed misunderstood. The young man in front of him was not as simple as a seed-level figure. There was a dark six-pointed star mark on his wrist. It meant that he was the dark sequence in the Doomsday myth, one of the 6 kings of destruction. This was even more noble than the identity of an ordinary seed-level genius. Damn it, who is it? The young man went crazy and shouted angrily. The corner of his mouth was bleeding, and a few of his teeth were broken. There was even a footprint on his face. This kind of humiliation made him extremely angry and crazy, so angry that his internal organs were burning. He was a hibernating dark sequence, an existence who was qualified to become an immortal king. In the end, as soon as he was born, someone kicked his face fiercely. Who could endure this? Did he not care about his face? The young man immediately locked onto the white-robed man standing in the void in front of him with an elegant figure. The young man was taken aback by the primal chaos brilliance and primal chaos law that enveloped him. This is the chaotic physique. The young man was a little shocked. Could it be that the chaotic physique was so common these days? Why did he encounter a chaotic physique as soon as he woke up? Brother, do you know who I am? Even if you have the chaotic physique, the young man spoke. He knew that if it was the real chaotic physique, his background would definitely be great. He might be the successor of the immortal emperor race. However, before he could finish speaking, a voice rang out. Jun Xiaoyao simply clenched his 5 fingers into a fist and punched out. Boom! In the void, the chaotic energy exploded like a nuclear bomb. The young man was sent flying again. He was completely dumbfounded. Why did a chaotic physique want to fight to the death with him as soon as he woke up? For the sake of being a creature of my world, don't make a mistake. The young man's eyes shot out a cold light. It was rare for a chaotic physique to appear in the foreign realm, so he did not want to kill him directly. You're just a whetstone. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes revealed a hint of impatience. You're courting death. The young man shouted sternly. Demonic energy burst out from his body, and he no longer backed down. He raised his hand, and a pitch-black demonic spear rushed out from the mount again. The young man held the pitch-black demonic spear in his hand and pierced towards Jun Xiaoyao, annihilating the surrounding void. That's more like it. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and raised his hand. A dazzling brilliance appeared. It was a 3-foot-long sword embryo. It was slightly rough, as if it hadn't been polished into shape. The blade of the sword wasn't sharpened either, but there was an extremely sharp sword energy swallowing and spitting out, cutting through the void. On the sword embryo, there were all sorts of flying immortal patterns, looking mysterious and profound. This was the quasi-emperor weapon that Jun Xiaoyao obtained from signing in the Zenith Heaven sword embryo, although its level was the same as the Great Desolate Halberd from before. Its offensive power and growth potential were clearly much stronger than the Great Desolate Halberd. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao controlled the sword embryo like a peerless sword immortal in fluttering white robes. Heaven slashing art. Jun Xiaoyao controlled the sword embryo and slashed down. The sword energy swept across 30,000 miles, and a single sword light shone. Chapter 909. Endless sword light flickered in the void, severing the universe, shattering the boundless expanse. Jun Xiaoyao used the everlasting sword core to activate one of the 5 great divine arts, the heaven severing art. At the same time, he also added the power of primal chaos onto it. Endless golden sword light, tangled with chaotic energy, hacked down on the young man's head. That type of terrifying fluctuation made even the young man's expression change. Even though he was a dark echelon, one of the Doomsday Six Kings, he hadn't fully grown yet. He still needed to experience all types of opportunities and nurture before he could fully take form. That was why right now was precisely the young man's time when his cultivation was at its weakest. However, he just had to run into Jun Xiaoyao, this freak of a freak. It could be said that he was extremely miserable. Thousand Demon, hell shaking. The young man released a long roar, the pitch-black demonic spear in his hand piercing out, the void splitting apart. It was as if a part of the underworld appeared, ghosts wailing and wolves howling, heaven and earth mourning. Countless demonic figures appeared, filling heaven and earth. It had to be said that this young man's strength was also extremely great. He was definitely a seed-level figure. It was to the extent where even normal seeds couldn't compare to him. What foreign younger generation 10 great heavenly kings? In front of this man, they were even more like trash. Unfortunately, the one he ran into was Jun Xiaoyao. Boom! A world-shaking explosion erupted, all types of primal chaos waves sweeping out, order and natural laws shattering. The void, even more so, trembled like paper, and then shattered. Poochie! The young man spat out another small mouthful of blood. He had just crawled out from the grave, his original state not yet adjusted. Now, he actually fell into a disadvantage. You are courting death. The young man opened his mouth and roared, his eyes surging with demonic radiance. Who was he? He was a dark echelon who had slumbered for many great eras. He was one of the Doomsday Six Kings who upheld the foreign world's destiny. How could he endure this type of humiliation? Prison, see 10,000 calamities. Yama, King Dharma idol. The young man's black hair danced crazily. Every strand of hair seemed to have the flames of the underworld burning. Behind him, an incomparably imposing demonic figure rose from the ground. That was the demonic god Yama, who ruled over hell. When this phenomenon appeared, the surrounding earth was directly crushed, sinking 3 feet. All types of wreckage, ruins, coffins, they were all in pieces. The rare phenomenon was extremely powerful. Jun Xiaoyao felt as if the space around him had turned into a swamp the moment he unleashed it. Even his movements were a little sluggish. At the same time, boundless pressure rolled over, suppressing Jun Xiaoyao's strength. Is a seed-level prodigy so difficult to deal with? Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. Although seed-level prodigies were not weak, this should not be so difficult to deal with, right? Jun Xiaoyao was naturally unaware of the opponent in front of him. He was not just a seed-level prodigy. Instead, he was one of the dark echelons in the Doomsday myth. However, Jun Xiaoyao was only surprised by what he saw. Although he could not use the vision of the sacred body of the ancients at the moment, he was still able to do so. However, one should not forget that he had the chaotic physique and also possessed the sovereign divine blood after the sovereign bone had undergone nirvana. His physique was also not something an ordinary person could compare to. Do you think you're the only one with a vision? Jun Xiaoyao smiled as the chaotic blood in his body surged. Endless chaotic qi soared into the sky, forming a void of chaos behind him. It was as if he had returned to the beginning of the universe. However, in this chaos, the giant shadow of a primordial god that was even larger than the universe's galaxy appeared. The primordial god's shadow seemed to be holding up this world and cutting through the primordial chaos. That kind of fluctuation was so powerful that it made one's heart palpitate. Even one's soul was trembling. It was as if he was facing a primordial god. The chaotic physique phenomenon. Chaos splitting the heavens. This was a phenomenon that came with the chaotic physique. There was no need for Jun Xiaoyao to deliberately comprehend it. Once it was unleashed, all kinds of chaotic qi collapsed between heaven and earth. The giant shadow of the primordial god even seemed to be able to cut through this world. The young man's king of Hell Dharma form was directly offset and even suppressed. The young man's expression was extremely ugly. Could it be that the prodigies of this era were already so strong? Or could it be that he could not keep up with the times? No, I uphold the will of heaven and meet with the times. I am an invincible existence, one of the kings of destruction. The young man let out a clear roar. Demonic runes were branded on his body, and the pitch-black spear in his hand even released thousands of wisps of black light. This was a supreme, demonic weapon. Myriad demons devour the world. When the extreme move was executed, its aura was extremely powerful, as if it could destroy the nine heavens' imperial court. The entire Forbidden Land was surrounded by all kinds of demonic shadows, and everything turned into dust. It had to be said that this man was really strong. His demonic might was unparalleled, like a demon lord. He was worthy of being in the dark sequence. If it were any other younger generation of the foreign world, they wouldn't be able to easily fight him, let alone injure him. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm when he saw this. On one hand, he used the Zenith Heaven Sword Core to execute the heaven-severing art to slash down horizontally. On the other hand, he used the chaos splitting the heavens phenomenon to suppress the young man. At the same time, the supreme divine blood in his body was activated. This was the ultimate nirvana and transformation of the supreme divine bone. Dazzling light of heaven tribulation appeared from his body, as if turning Jun Xiaoyao into light. He directly charged at the young man, wanting to engage in close combat to test the power of his chaotic physique. Clang! The pitch-black, demonic spear collided with the everlasting sword core, producing dazzling sparks. Jun Xiaoyao punched out, his physical body augmented by chaotic energy, light of heaven tribulation, and other attributes. Fist annihilating all directions. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them exchanged blows at an extremely fast speed. Countless afterimages were imprinted in the void. This part of the world was destroyed, and the void was cracked. Just the aftermath of the collision alone was enough to shatter everything in the surroundings. Jun Xiaoyao formed a fist seal and punched out. Chaotic energy exploded in the void. Great chaotic palm seal, compressing chaotic energy to the extreme, condensing it into a palm seal, and then exploding in an instant. Its power was domineering. Bang! The young man was blasted back again. Even the palm he used to punch out cracked. In terms of strength, the young man wasn't bad. However, his physical body was still inferior to the chaotic physique. Sensing that he didn't have a chance of winning and was even in danger, the young man roared. Which immortal emperor race are you from? Do you know that I'm a dark echelon with a high status? If you kill me, your emperor race will have to bear a great crime for generations to come. Hearing the young man's words, Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. Dark echelon? What was that? However, the young man's words made Jun Xiaoyao's face reveal a hint of mockery. I'm not a foreign creature to begin with. Why do I have to bear a great crime? Killing you is only natural. Jun Xiaoyao already had killing intent in his heart. If this kind of person continued to grow, he would pose a great threat to the celestial realm. It was best to eliminate him as soon as possible. He didn't plan to let the young man leave the heavenly tomb alive, so he directly exposed his identity. What? However, Hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, the young man was shocked. His heart twitched violently, and his eyes almost popped out. How is that possible? You're not a creature of my world.